What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Royal Dude Lorenzo, soon to be Royal Lorenzo, and I am the Blue Squid here on the Inkling Brothers podcast.
My name is Ray, also known as Meatloaf Man. I am the Purple Squid here on the Inkling Bros podcast. Isaac, that's you.
My name is Isaac, aka the Red Squid.
And I'm Eric.
He's an Eric Squid.
Yeet.
No, I'm just. I don't even play Splatoon. Don't even do that. Don't put that on me.
Oh, it's better than the Shadow Squid.
That's right. Yeah,
Why is the dude gone from your name?
Well, I'm working on it.
You're not a dude
on what?
anymore. I'm a man now.
Well, it says Royal Dude Lorenzo in his Discord username.
Yeah, I was gonna say false advertising
no,
there.
so I am. Ray knows a little bit about this, but I'm working on a rebranding right now. Because I told you guys eventually I want to start streaming again and actually doing getting into that kind of thing. So,
But why Royal Lorenzo? Are you like royalty?
No, that's just the name I chose. I just needed something that came off the tongue easily. Like every single popular streamer nowadays is you can say their name and everyone will recognize them. But if you say something like Lego Pokemon Lorenzo 97, you're just like, yeah.
The classic.
That was my old. By the way,
My
for anyone
favorite Twitch streamer.
For anyone that doesn't know, that was my very first YouTube username. It was Lego Pokemon Lorenzo 97.
If y'all followed us for that long, you guys deserve a veterans discount.
Are they gonna get a YouTube play button?
I hope.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my videos, I think it was a Sweet Victory it was a Sweet Victory video.
Oh god,
I think
From SpongeBob?
Yeah, I got like 10,000 views just because I posted the music for Sweet
Were
Victory.
you like, oh, I'm famous?
Damn, bro, 10,000? You famous?
Dude, it was
Yeah.
just a slideshow made in Windows Movie Maker to the Sweet Victory music in the background. And it was
But you put like lyrics on it?
No, I didn't put any lyrics. It was just a full song. I think people just might have just used it to rip the music or something like that from it.
Damn, bro, you YouTube 2007 famous.
Yeah, I mean, in 2000, I
10,000
assume
was
this
a big
is
deal.
in the mid-2000s. That was big for
I'm gonna look it up right now.
mid-2000s.
See if I can find it. Yep, there it is.
Let me see.
It's
Post
actually
it.
I remember.
3.5 thousand. My bad, but yeah,
Wow,
when,
you overestimated that.
a little bit.
I remember when getting 1,000 views on YouTube was like, if you went to school the next day and told people that, they look at you like, yo, can I be in the next video? You famous, bro.
Yo, Eric freaking commented! He commented! Eric commented! He said, yo, this shit is fire, homie!
He said that?
Yeah!
Apparently I did. I commented a year ago. I didn't comment when it was posted, which was in 2010.
I thought you were saying you commented way back in the days, holy
No.
shit.
No, I mean, because that isn't even my first YouTube account. My first YouTube account was something else. It had Shadow Link as the picture.
Yeah. I love how in the title's must see.
Must see. Yeah, because I was trying to grow my brand at the time, and they were like, you have to...
Using another brand.
Yeah, they said you have to put these words in your
Bro,
title.
This is 2010. You're 12 years old. You shouldn't be worrying about brands.
YouTube told you to change your name?
What?
Who told you to put...
Oh, no, I wanted to rebrand for the first time. So from, I think it was 2013 or 2014, I changed my name to Royal Du Lorenzo.
Ah, damn, bro.
Didn't you also forget your password, too?
So you can't get back on?
I forgot my password way after. So I had already switched to Royal Dude Lorenzo.
Okay.
But then
I
remember forgot my password.
Your last video on there was that Pokemon Black and White update.
Yeah, what is that exactly?
You want to go watch it?
Well, you can just tell me right now.
Live reaction.
I can't watch it while we're doing this.
Well,
Lawrence, give me the cliff notes.
the
yeah,
cliff notes,
TLDR.
it was like a podcast where I talked about everything that was on Bulbapedia's front page related to Pokemon Black and White.
That was the new game at the time.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
literally hadn't even come out yet. It was coming
My
out
God.
that year. No,
I
the
love
following
it.
year.
12-year-olds in 2010, most of them are like, "Oh, bro, Pokemon, I can't wait," or "Oh, dude, check out this new Xbox game coming out." And Lawrence is here like, "Oh man, my brand on YouTube."
My
At
business,
12
bro.
years old.
I'm running a business here, bro.
I also love his about section on this channel. It says, "My channel is all about reviews, updates, etc." Man, when's the next upload?
Apparently, I had a Facebook. Oh, it's not available. Oh, I think
A
I might, maybe
Facebook
I
fan
deleted
page.
Hold on. Yeah, I just realized there's a Facebook link, but when you
I was
click it, it
gonna
says
say-
page not found.
it. I guess I
I was gonna
deleted
say,
it.
let's give it like Jesus Christ, 11 years ago. All these videos were.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah. Wow.
Yo, you have 86 views on your
Bro,
Blissey.
your channel is
TCG
older than
review?
most
Yeah.
users of TikTok.
That's
you
true.
have-
He's not wrong.
Your YouTube is older than most of the kids who use TikTok, bro.
Oh no.
Dude, your Blissey trading card video has like 86 views, and then your black and white video has 85 views. You have like 85 consistent viewers.
Yeah. Over the last 11 years.
God damn.
So is the podcast going to be about us talking about Lawrence's YouTube
Oh
career?
my god. I'm
Is the
hearing
podcast gonna
Lawrence's
get 85
voice.
views?
It's well, you know. Well, no, this podcast is not about me. It's just, you know, it's just
My
interesting.
god.
Yeah.
Hearing
was
Lawrence's
before-
voice in 2010 is wild. He has not gone through puberty. You listen to it.
Yeah, that was
Can't-
before I went through puberty. Literally before I went through puberty. Because that
We were
year I
definitely-
went through puberty.
Lawrence
We
went
were-
through puberty?
Fuck you.
We were definitely friends at that point, right? Like, we
Yeah.
met already.
Yeah. We went to the black and white
you and Ray
update.
did.
We went to the black and white mall tour, Ray.
No, I just wanted to make
You
sure.
were the one
'cause,
that
like-
made me make a
Where was
YouTube
it,
page.
Okay, well, the black and white mall tour was towards when the game was coming out. This black and white update video was before the game came out.
Oh well,
so,
yeah, fair. But you made me
Although-
you made me make a
although-
YouTube, so
In fairness, you are correct because I remember Harkle and Soul Silver I think came out while we were friends. So
yeah.
because we
Bro, we
brought our
had
Pokewalkers
Pokewalkers,
to our
yeah.
acting class. Yeah.
And we used to walk around the entire auditorium multiple times so that we can get our steps in, and so we can also just chat about things that we've gone through the week.
Yeah.
Man, that shit was wild. I don't
This
even know
black
who
and
these
white
channels
video-
are. Like, I'm looking
What?
at channels and I'm like, I recognize some of them, but not all of them. Like Chugga Conroy, Fred,
Fire.
Forest Fire. I of course, you know, but like, who the hell is
I
Sean
recognize
Willits?
Shane Dawson and Sugar Conroy and Fred.
Yeah.
I don't know about the others.
Who's Slayer of MCA? Keshinate. I think I recognize Keshinate.
Primetime Pokemon.
Primetime. I remember Primetime Pokemon. He was like, he used to do card openings, and that was what got me into like opening like trading cards at the time.
Man, this black and white video that you uploaded, that was October 3rd, 2010. I was still 13 years old at the time.
I was 12.
I was still at the beginning of my freshman year of high school.
Same, yeah.
Damn, me
damn.
too.
Yeah, that was when me and Isaac, and not with Lawrence, because he made the wrong decision and didn't go to our high school. Because-
The butterfly
talked
effect,
about
apparently.
this.
I'm
Bro,
just saying, that
2010
was
I had it.
wild.
Yeah.
The most 2010 was the last time I had a cell phone before I had to basically
Same.
lose my phone plan because fuck MLK High School for having scanners. That meant we had no cell phones. So that was the last time I had a cell phone for 4
Well, no.
years.
The thing is, a lot of people at our high school, they would just leave it at a phone truck. There was a literal truck run by some people near the campus.
Run by
That-
some shady ass mofos.
Yeah, and you
They
give
pay
them your
$1 a
phone, and
day.
it was $1 a day. You give them your phone, and then they give you like a little card, and you give it back to them after school. But my parents and yours had the same mentality where it's like, well, if you're not gonna have your phone for most of the day, why even bother with a phone plan?
Who you gonna text? Your friends at school? They ain't gonna text you back. They're at school.
Yeah, so it's like you, I didn't have a cell phone for most of high school. I finally got one back senior year because at that point we were going to the college.
Bro, that phone truck had me tight because you said it best. You said if you gave them $1, they would give you like a like a number, like a ticket.
Yeah.
And you come back with it, and you give it back and get your phone back, or you get somebody else's funky phone that you don't even know like whose phone this is. I'm like, bro, I didn't give me my phone. I don't have a Galaxy Amp 2 or something.
You give them an
Galaxy.
iPhone and they give you a
Isaac.
BlackBerry.
Isaac, they give you.
This is not my phone. What?
They give you back a track phone.
Word. Imagine you leave your iPhone 4, like it's 2010. You go to the phone van, you drop your iPhone 4 up. You come back, you give your ticket in, they give you an Obama phone. You would have to be tight.
Yeah.
They're like,
They give
hey
you
man,
like
this don't even have minutes.
They give you a fucking sidekick where it's like, bruh,
Verizon
what?
flip phone.
The 80s brick
Yo.
cell phone?
They give you a singular phone. You remember singular?
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my
They give you a
God.
cord phone. A rotary phone and shit. Like, yo, this is not mine. Who left this here? When?
Phone.
You see some old ass teacher in the building, like, that's mine. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Ancient person.
It's funny because
Bro,
Ray had an Obama phone for the longest time.
That's true. We would always joke about that.
I don't
Yeah, it
mean
was
in
a
a
track phone.
joking way.
Ray, don't take offense.
What do you mean?
Ray, don't
you
take
would
offense.
joke along with us.
No. I mean right now. Don't take offense to it.
Well,
I mean-
obviously, but we were just kidding back then.
No. Yeah, it's just funny to think about. Like, damn, we were all like,
I had like 3 different Obama phones in like the past decade.
yeah, Gen
Man.
3, Gen 2, Gen 1.
That last one couldn't even run Pokemon Go. Like it could run like the
Was it a
menu
smartphone?
interface.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one was something called like a Cool Pad. And so it kind of had like Android like apps and all that on it, so I could technically access YouTube, but it was still pretty
had
much
to-
an Obama phone.
They had to put cool on the name of the phone so
Yeah.
that kids could at least say, like,
It's
nah, man, this is
cool.
cool pad.
I thought you were referencing the video.
I'm
that
sorry,
I posted.
but when I hear Cool Pad, I think of like those educational little
Yeah, me
consoles.
too.
Fisher Price toys,
Like
Leapfrog and all
Leapfrog
that.
or something. That's what I think. Cool Pad.
They still
That's how
have
you know
those.
you're a.
God, those
That's
fucking
no.
fake LCD laptops with the small,
Yeah.
the huge bezels and the small screen.
Yeah.
Right, no offense to you, but that's how you know, like, kids will look at you like you were a bum if you had that phone. Like, when it said cool on it, you're like,
yeah. I
I'm
mean, like,
not gonna get no hose with this phone.
I'm with you guys 100%. I didn't have shit growing up except like my BlackBerry that one time, but
Yeah.
even then, like
Yours
the
were
battery
cool,
for
at
that
least.
eventually
Ray,
gave way.
yo, you literally just you described my whole experience before, like right when I started high school. I had the latest BlackBerry that came out, not the Storm. It was like the BlackBerry, the last one with the keypad. I forget
Yeah,
which
I
one it
had
was.
the-
Like
He had
BlackBerry
that
8.
exact same one. And I remember Ray would like. I'd be like, "Yo, Ray, can I see your phone?" Because I was so fascinated with this
Can I
man's
see
phone.
your
It was a great phone.
It
Yo, it had a
was.
keypad, it had a touchscreen, it had the home button,
Somehow
Blackberries
it had Twitter
were
and
good.
YouTube. in,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
it had
And-
Facebook on it, it had YouTube.
And Ray was in the middle of BBM era. I don't know if y'all remember
yeah,
that.
BlackBerry Messenger.
Like,
RIP to BBM, bro. They actually just shut it down like a year ago.
Also, it had
Wow,
the
it
killer
was
app.
up for that long? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Also, it had the
Like 2
killer
years
app
ago.
Brick Breaker.
yeah.
remember
that was
Oh,
a
the
fire.
classic mobile game.
Yeah. I remember people in my class would even talk about that. It's like, yo, you play Brick Breaker on your phone?
Yeah,
Yo, you
bro.
play that new Halo 3?
Yeah.
Nah, fam, I could play that brick.
Didn't you
Brick
have like
Breaker.
Modern Warfare or something like that, or Call of Duty on your phone?
on
Ray?
phones?
Yes.
No, I didn't have that. I don't even know if they had a Black.
No.
They did have a mobile game. Not
The Black-
like the one now, but they had like
The
an actual
BlackBerry-
mobile phone game.
Yeah,
Have to
but the
look this up.
BlackBerry didn't have any equivalent of like the Google Play Store.
It didn't
That's
have
the
an app store.
thing. But
Yeah.
it did have
Whatever-
Brick Breaker pre-installed.
It just had
Yeah,
the
like-
apps that were on it, and that was it.
Yeah,
Basically.
like didn't it also have Snake?
Oh yeah, I think I had Snake on it.
Snake was fun. Yo.
Who is that?
Is that Omar?
My brother. Yeah, somewhere.
Yo, what's good, Omar?
I think it was the BlackBerry Curve, like 8520. That was like the model number for it when it came out. But
That was.
yeah, this one I found it.
I always
Um,
wanted a BlackBerry back then because I was like, yo, I need to like all my friends have BBM and they're all talking on there, and I'm just like, I need to be on that because this was like way before like iPhone supremacy. Like, don't get me wrong, iPhones were starting to make their move, obviously, and like, but like everyone in school had a BlackBerry. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was
my
no
friend Ramon
iPhones.
had a
it
BlackBerry.
was everywhere in 2000. I feel like 2008 is
I
when you started seeing in the classrooms. So 2010.
Oh, in classrooms, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, my friend Ramon had a BlackBerry, and that's what initially inspired me to want to get a BlackBerry. And then my dad eventually got me one.
Yeah, those phones were cool. That was like the last like super cool phone before everything became so homogenized.
Yeah. Now
Everything was
everything
either
is
iPhone or Android.
Yeah.
now everything is pretty much either Samsung or Apple.
Yeah, like, and they all look the same. That's the thing. Like, I mean, sure, you can get different colors, but they're all just the same rectangular slabs of plastic.
Yeah, black rectangular
Which,
slabs.
like some of them have like interesting like features. Honestly,
Where
they still they sell them down on Amazon. Oh, it's not
They
unlocked
sell it.
version. How much?
probably a reseller.
How much?
$72.
$72. Wow. Education
Lawrence is about to buy
connection.
it.
Oh, I
Damn,
remember
it
this
had
phone.
the carriers on it,
BlackBerry
bro.
Torch. Yo, that was one of the phones I was considering all way back when.
Remember when the last BlackBerry ever was? It tried to compete with iPhone and Android, so it was like a pure touchscreen and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called.
BlackBerry still
I
makes
remember that
phones,
one
by the
too.
way. Like,
They do,
yeah.
You sure?
In fact,
but they shut down BBM. I thought they stopped. They stopped supporting it.
no, but they still make phones though.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Positive?
I think they're out of business, bro.
Nah,
Yeah, like-
last year they were part of the whole, if you guys remember when the stock squeeze or something like that.
Oh right, yeah,
They
yeah.
were
yeah.
one of the companies that got squeezed. So they were like at one point their stocks went, I think, as high as like $30 per stock, which, the stock itself is worth like $4 right now. So like,
It went down, obviously.
yeah. And now it's worth
So the-
$4. It's always been worth like $4 since they stopped being like important. So, yeah, that just kind of speaks to the fact that like they are still around, surprisingly.
God,
Their
I
phones,
just go ahead.
the phones are no longer in service, so they stopped supporting their older operating systems and older models.
Yeah.
So if you have a BlackBerry from before, then it's not going to work online anymore. But unless you have Wi-Fi or something. But BBM is definitely like gone.
Oh yeah, that was definitely dead. I remember when they like ported BlackBerry Messenger to iPhone and Android, and I was like, yo, I can finally join everybody. But by then, everyone was like, not you. That wasn't. They weren't using that anymore. They all had iPhones. They were all using either iMessage or Facebook Messenger.
I just looked it up. They closed it in 2019, the middle of 2019.
They
So
stopped
right before the
using-
pandemic.
They stopped selling phones.
No, BBM. Like that's
Oh.
when it shut down.
I'm sorry,
that's when
but
it was
every time I hear
discontinued.
BBM, I think it's something totally different. Like,
Yeah, I know
Brazilian
exactly
booty
what you're
massage?
talking
it
about.
sounds because when Lawrence was like, everybody was on BBM, and I was like, I gotta be on that.
Brazilian booty
I had
lift?
to resist the urge to be like, hey, yo, you want to be on that BBM, Lawrence?
Yes, Brazilian booty man.
Man, yeah.
Wait, no.
You said a lot, bro.
No, don't know us.
You
literally
said too
that.
much. You said too much.
You said
It
it
was
twice.
a Freudian
yeah.
slip, guys. It's Brazilian booty massage. There we go.
Nah, you said man.
Nah, still, bro. That's even if you didn't say man, you said way too much. You say too much.
Also, I just found the phone I was thinking of, like, because the final, like, legit BlackBerry phone was pure touchscreen. I guess it was the second one, because the first one was Z10, I think.
Mm.
The final BlackBerry phone was Z30, and I remember it because a friend of ours in high school, a Chinese friend of ours, had that phone in 2014. And I was amazed. I was like, "Oh wow, I've never seen someone with that BlackBerry touchscreen phone."
Damn.
Yeah, I remember. There were my very first phone. I was considering between 3 different phones. It was the BlackBerry Torch, the Samsung. There was this AT&T phone. It would look like a Sidekick, and then it was the Samsung Eternity. That was what I had. I had the Samsung Eternity. I chose that one because of the full touchscreen. and the better camera. It had a 3 megapixel camera. At the time, that was a lot. Just saying, 3 megapixels, that was bussin' back in the day. But then, and I chose it over the thing that looked like the Sidekick. I should have gone, at the time though, I should have gone the Sidekick. Or the Blackberry, but I didn't. The phone,
Damn.
2 years
If I
later...
could go back and
Yeah, go ahead.
no, you can finish.
The phone I got after that was the Samsung Eternity. No, Samsung Infuse, my bad. Samsung
Did it
Infuse.
feel like an eternity?
No, I got the Samsung Infuse. It was the thinnest phone in the market at the time. It was thinner than the iPhone. That was what they marketed it as, and it was like it was essentially Samsung Galaxy 1, like before the S1 pretty much, or Samsung Galaxy 0. And again, the same idea. I had the choice between an iPhone, a BlackBerry Torch, or the touchscreen BlackBerry with the buttons, or the Infuse, and I chose the Infuse. Then I got the Galaxy S4, and then the Galaxy Edge 6, Edge 6, S6 Edge, something like that. And then the one I got after the Edge was the S8, and then after the S8 it was the Note 8, and then it was now I'm at the Note 20. So that's my phone history.
Thanks for giving us your phone history out of nowhere. I'm like, why are you talking about this?
We're talking
Who
about
asked?
this.
Who asked?
I mean, look,
I just found it funny. Like, I'm fine with-
Ray gave his
I'm
phone
fine
history
with it.
earlier.
No. It's just because we
I
were
did
just
not
talking
give
about
my
like.
complete history.
Yeah, that's the thing. He did not give his complete history.
Well,
So it was just so funny for Lawrence to be like, the audience obviously needs to know about my entire phone history and all that. So he gives every purchase.
It's for his Wikipedia article in the future.
I mean, Eric, to be fair, we were going through his YouTube career not even 10 minutes ago.
Well, to be fair, that was all of us doing that.
I was sitting there like, is this? I asked, oh, is this the podcast? Are we just gonna go over Lawrence's
Yeah,
YouTube resume?
Because what happened was like, why aren't you Royal Dude Lorenzo anymore? And it's like, yeah, well, like a
Well, yeah,
Pokemon
like I
was
asked a question and then it just snowballed from there.
that was more than
Then
a
it went
snowball. That was an avalanche.
And then Eric is like, oh my god, Lawrence's voice in 2010.
I mean, if you listen to it, it's
Hey
wild.
guys, how's it going?
It wasn't that squeaky, but okay.
You sounded like you played Roblox.
Yes,
I mean, he did, right?
I did. I was
There you go.
I was heavy into Roblox back then, guys.
Dude, I'll be honest.
Why'd you
I'm
make-
still...
All right.
What?
No,
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, you go. I wasn't gonna say.
I was just gonna say it blew my mind to find out that Roblox was not a recent thing because I thought it came out like in the mid to late 2010s.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
did
realize
too.
it was around for since the early 2000s.
Yeah,
because
and-
I never heard of it as a kid. Legit.
And I remember we had this conversation in person. I was like, yeah, my niece has been playing Roblox, and I remember playing Roblox as a kid. And Eric had to check himself for a second. He was like, what? He's like,
Yeah, I thought you were messing around with me. I was like, what are you talking about?
yeah, no, do that. Roblox has been around since 2000, like 2000 something. But I remember because whenever I used to go to the public library, if you weren't playing Cartoon Network Flash games, you were playing Roblox. And like you were cool if you were playing Roblox because
The coolest.
and the other guys were playing Teen Titans Flash, whatever that Flash game was on the Cartoon Network.
I thought you were about to say Teen Titans Go. I was like, what?
Whatever that fighting game. By the way, I main Cinderblock. Just saying. For anyone out there.
Teen Titans Battle Blitz.
Yeah, I main Cinderblock. But yeah, so I remember seeing that, and then at the time I just created like my very
Are
first.
you gonna give us your Teen Titans Battle Blitz main history?
No.
You should.
I remember I had just gotten my first email address. It was an AOL. And I had gotten AIM too.
AIM.
And so
remember
I
AIM.
decided to make a Roblox, and I was playing Roblox all the time. And literally, my parents, all they would hear from my computer was "oof," that "oof" sound. And it was so fun. Like honestly, loved playing in other people's levels. Like it was so like at points, yes, it was problematic because some of the things that happen in that game are super problematic. There was like barely any you know, like
Moderation.
moderation back then. And it was creepy sometimes. Like, there were definitely people who are like way older than kids on that. Um, but at the same time, it was still really cool. Like it was, everybody wanted essentially. I was like huge into Lego at the time, and everybody wanted like a Lego MMORPG. They couldn't get that from like the Lego Star Wars games, the Lego Batman games, which were really fun, and they wanted something at like they can play with other people. Eventually, their answer was Lego Universe or Lego Worlds, but obviously that got shut down a long time ago because they did a whole like pay to access thing where like if you wanted to play, you had to buy the like Lego sets and then you use them in game, but like you cannot like access the game without like having that like some of those sets. So
That reminds me, yeah,
yeah.
some toys try to do that back in the day,
That's
like
crazy.
like Funkies, if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
Someone actually made like someone made a video talking about that whole history of it, and I watched a little bit of it, and I
Webkins.
was like,
I've never heard of Funkies.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either, honestly.
it used to be advertised on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, and I think you could get some back at in Target back in the day. But basically, Funkies were like, it was basically like they had like music on it, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
and you plug them into your computer, and you can actually like interact with them in some way.
Really?
Yeah.
Although I vaguely remember something like that, but it wasn't called Funkies.
It was like it was basically like old school amiibos in some
Yeah, you literally cannot play the game without having
without them.
this.
I googled
This is
Funkies
this
toy,
was the
and
starter
the first
kit.
thing that came up was Funky Monkey Toys and Books.
No, this was
That's
the starter
obviously what it's supposed to be.
Oh, okay, I see it. Fun, like fun, the word fun and keys?
kit. Yeah,
Oh, okay, I see it. Oh, because it's a USB key.
it was very close to being essentially Webkins. You guys remember Webkins?
I remember Webkins, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the paid version of Neopets. For
Damn, this design is really early 2000s.
I
Oh,
know.
I remember. Yo, the mummy one looks like... Why does it look like they stole that from the JetX logo?
It kind of does
Yeah,
look like the
yeah.
Jets.
I'll send you the picture I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
There's a mummy looking funky that looks like JetX.
Yeah, it does that does look like the Jetix logo.
Man, seeing these it's interesting. Seeing these in these funkies reminds me of the iDog. Do you guys remember the iDog?
Yeah, I
Yes,
remember
I
that.
remember
Yeah.
that dog.
Dude,
We had one.
I wanted that so bad. So then one time I went to, I think it was a Marshall's in Las Vegas, and they were selling a bootleg version of the iDog. I bought it, and I was like, I finally have an iDog! But, like, it was so funny because they came out with I think it was Sega? Sega Toys made that iDog. And
Wow.
they had a bunch of, like, successors. There was iCat, there was iFish, there was Icy, and there was iTurtle.
Yeah, I remember the various spin-offs.
I think there was a penguin, too, or some
Yeah,
bird.
it was
There was
Icy.
there was a penguin. There
It
was
was
a penguin.
called Icy.
Icy? Nice.
Yeah, Ice, like ICY.
Not to be confused with ICE.
Not to be confused with the ones who
Oh my
hate
god. Oh my god.
immigrants.
we won't continue that, but yeah.
And I
When
remember
they say,
I remember
when they
around
said
the
he-
I remember around the time that they were releasing these toys, they came out with McDonald's versions of those toys. And I remember like going out because I wanted like
I remember that
as
too.
as possible because I was like,
Yeah, they made
if I'm
the
not gonna
Ion
get
toys.
if I'm not gonna get the official one, I want the bootleg ones. I want the toys. I want to feel like I have it.
Hey, yo, pause. I want the toys. I want to feel like I have it.
All right, that one was more you than anything, because that didn't come up in my
It's so
mind.
interesting. Like if you go to the Wikipedia
That
page
sounded
for
funny.
iDog, there's a little link that goes to the official website, and when you click it, it takes you to the Wayback Machine, and it takes you to the web archive for the page, which was in Japanese, by the way.
Oh, awesome! So you were able to read it, right?
Yeah, of course. Because I am
Oh
fluent in
man.
Japanese.
Speaking of emails from earlier, I still remember when in no, it was in junior year of high school. They took us to the computer lab and they made us make emails for when we start applying for colleges and stuff later in junior
Professional
year.
emails. Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
I remember that because before that I had like a Yahoo Mail and like a Hotmail, but I didn't really look at it much. I essentially only had them so that I can sign up for shit like on, like say for YouTube and whatnot. Uh, but that was I still remember that day because that email that I made in high school, I still use today. It's so if you wanna blow your mind, I know Gmail does this. You can sort your emails from oldest to newest, so you can see the first few emails you sent when you made the thing. So I did that a little while ago, and it was so wild seeing emails from me to like I think one of my guidance counselors in high school in like 2013. It's just like, God damn, that was almost 10 years ago. And there it
Yeah,
is.
I know what you're saying. I've done that too.
I need to see. I need to go all the way to the last page. Oldest. I'm gonna see this right now. What was the very first oh wow. The first email that I ever got was from a my social studies teacher.
Nice.
And it was a oh wow, there's a password. It's
Join
password
BBM
protected.
today.
Wow, interesting. Um,
Except my Google Plus request
That was the thing. Google Plus.
yeah, I'm seeing all
in
these like
2010. That's when
Yo.
Google Plus launched.
Yeah.
Yo,
It
When
didn't
they were
last
really
that
pushing
many
for it.
years, right?
I have no idea
It
if
only
you guys are
lasted
gonna
like
remember
2 to 3
this.
years before it shut down.
I need to look this up. I need to know how
oh,
long
man.
that thing actually lasted.
I'm seeing
I have
I think
no
model
officially
idea.
they.
I'm seeing
I have
model
no idea.
UN documents. Wow, this is interesting.
I have no idea if you guys are gonna remember this or not. But I was just reminded of this by a friend the other day. You guys remember iGoogle?
Kinda,
iGoogle?
What
kinda.
is
Yeah,
that?
iGoogle was basically the front page interface that you would see on your browser, where if you were logged into your Gmail account, you would see a dashboard with your Gmail, the weather, your Google Drive, Google Docs,
I
Google
remember
Sheets,
that.
and all that. Yeah,
It was a
Oh, I think I
personalized
remember.
dashboard.
Yeah,
yeah,
that they ended that in like 2014 or 13 or something.
yeah, they did. And I was like, Jesus, I forgot about this. I missed this
Also,
fandom.
I looked it up. Google Plus. So it came out uh 2011 and it ended apparently like completely in
2015,
2019. 2019,
2019.
yeah.
Okay.
So it lasted like 8 years essentially.
Mhm.
But yeah,
It's
Google
so
Plus was not
it's still
popular.
so Google Plus is still so iconic because they really were trying to push you onto it if you had a YouTube or a Gmail. Because I remember when Google Plus came out, you remember the old YouTube channel layout and how they killed that by making it Google
Yeah.
Plus?
Yeah, I remember that. I miss that layout
Yeah,
still.
Bro, honestly, I only use
make
Google
your own
Plus
YouTube
to
page.
log into stuff. Like
Huh?
like full disclosure, I used Google Plus only to log into things.
I never used it at all, honestly. Like to the point where I would forget it was a thing until it was mentioned by like a friend or some video I was watching. Like, oh right, Google Plus, that's a thing.
I'm I'm not gonna lie, I made a Google Plus for my YouTube channel because I thought, damn, if I'm the number one like account on YouTube on Google Plus, then I'm gonna get all the followers. And I was on top of it. I was following people and giving pluses and shit, thumbs
That's
up
how
on that
that was
shit.
likes, right?
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
For a
was like a
time, we
plus, but nobody was on it. There was nobody using
yeah
that shit. And at
Yeah.
some point, I'm like, they'll come, they'll use it. They never
for
did.
for a time, a friend of mine was running a crossover X Google Plus page, which actually had some traction to it. Like not a ton, obviously, but it was like some people on there because it was basically Google Plus was basically the original Amino before Amino. So like there was
Amino.
some people on there that was just like posting pictures and all that. It's like, yeah, who do you think would win in this fight? Or like, what do you think who should this character fight in something? And then, there
Yeah,
was just
it
some
was
followers.
mainly
And
people posting pictures and
yeah.
surveys. I remember that. They would post a picture and they would be like, "So, what should I have for lunch today?"
What do you think it is?
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgust.
Ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
And
It was,
eventually Google Plus did end. So
Oh
bro,
yeah.
people quit Google Plus before it actually stopped running.
before
Because
it
I
ended,
remember
yeah, because
some of the
people left.
YouTubers I followed on YouTube, they would promote their Google Plus page. They were like, follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus. And then a month later, they were like, yeah, Google Plus is dead.
You were. I remember they basically forced that on like all YouTubers. Like you had to have a Google Plus
They
page by
did, yeah.
default.
That's what I'm saying. That because Lawrence mentioned it, he only used it to log in because like after 2011, it was around the time like summer 2013, after my junior year. I remember going to Caesars, and Caesar wanted to I wanted to log into my YouTube. Actually, I was logging into the Team Triforce page to show Caesar the first video that I uploaded and like get his opinion on it. So I was logging in, right? And then it was like sign in with Google Plus, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Where's my YouTube channel? And then that's when I first saw like when I first made the Team Triforce account was when YouTube forced me to switch to Google Plus layout for the channels, the Google One layout. And then I was like, where's the wallpaper? Where's the background? Where's the music?
Where's everything?
Where's my drink?
Google took it. And they forced everybody to switch
They
to it.
burnt my shake. No, but yeah, I miss those old YouTube wallpapers though.
Yeah.
Like, everyone used to have like a custom one, and then you could just rearrange the channel boxes wherever you
You could
want.
change the HTML and the CSS.
Yeah, it was like basically old school like MySpace and Zanga pages.
Zanga. Wow.
Yo, that's how you know internet. That's how you know social media before 2011 was the shit. Because back then we didn't have like Instagram. We didn't have big ass platforms. All these like different ways to share memes or stuff like that. You had to go on. You had to search and find the video you wanted, and then you had to post it or share with your friends and wait for them to see it or show them in person. Like, yo, did you see this? And then you remember taking your friends, like going to their house or like them coming to your house and being like, yo, did you see this? And then looking it up on YouTube.
Yeah. Dude, that was a time, like, just exploring people's, like, MySpace pages or, like, playing, like, all those old Flash games that people would talk about in class and all that. Like, yo, you play that Crimson Room shit, or you play that South Park-looking game that had that guy with the guns and all that?
Oh my god.
Lawrence probably knows what I'm talking about, but, like, yeah.
Do you
And then
know
on
what Two Girls One Cup is?
Oh my god.
I remember, fucking... You could have, like, MP3 players on your MySpace page and all that.
So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I had to step out for a quick second. So I came back to Isaac going, "Yo, you guys remember Two Girls One Cup?" I'm like, wow, what did I miss?
Oh my god.
Nothing. We were just we were talking about the internet before the 2010s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically,
Interesting times.
just I was saying that. I mean, it's just my opinion about it. But anybody who was born after 2010, your opinion doesn't matter. Just letting you know now.
Oh my god.
When it comes to this,
Damn.
when it comes to this topic, because you don't know what the internet was before 2010. But basically, what you have now with social media was better before 2010. Like, end of discussion.
Yeah. Like,
Where are you saying like social media was better before 2010?
Like,
well, it felt better is what he's trying to say, because, like...
the custom, like the way you could specifically the way you could customize and make your own page on social media was better before 2010.
Oh, yeah. I would say that. I think in general, social media was better before 2010, because I guess it didn't have as much of an influence in our lives. It was just sort of a separate thing.
It was like a fun novelty.
You know what's also interesting? I remember I just like about 2 months ago I went to visit my high school, and I was like out for career day, and when I got into one of the rooms, I was like, I was essentially back in my day. Like, I was like, when I was presenting, I was like, kept on saying back in my day, and everyone's like, yo, mister, how old are you? And I said, I'm 24, and they're like, you're not that old, and I'm like, oh, I appreciate that. I guess it was a compliment. And then I said, yeah, but you guys are a little further than when I am, and then they're like, really? When were you born? And I said, 97. And then the teacher's like, "Yeah, you're a little further off. They were born in 2007." And I'm like,
What?
"Wow, wow!"
What? Eric.
I was like, "What? They were born in
Damn.
when?" Oh
Shit,
my
bro.
god, dude. I was like, look, I appreciate you guys don't want to call me old, but wow. 2007,
Bro,
I was in elementary.
there-
That was the end of
Bro.
elementary school.
Bro, Sonic
they
06
were-
on Xbox 360 is older than them.
They were
It's
born
true.
when They were born when Spider-Man 3 came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But they were born when Halo 3 and COD 4 came out.
Dude,
Yo, they're-
Andrew Garfield's
they-
Spider-Man was their first live-action Spider-Man.
True.
They're
yeah,
Avatar.
that's true.
They're Avatar babies, bro.
Yo.
Oh, you're talking about Avatar, Blue Avatar. That's true.
Yeah, I said Avatar, not the Last Airbender.
James Cameron Avatar.
Bro, when Eric said "what," I thought for a second he was trying to I thought he was trying to impersonate Lil Jon.
What?
What?
Okay.
I was just so
Okay.
because I thought this happened a while ago, like this whole story he was recounting. So I thought the answer was gonna be like, oh yeah, they were born in like 2002 or whatever. It's like, okay, that's
Right,
not too
yeah.
far away. So then when I hear 2007, I was like, oh my god, I was 11 years old at the time.
Yeah. Dude, this was literally like 2 months ago. Like
That's
how
why
crazy
I
it
was
is.
stunned. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Shit, bro.
I know.
Isn't that-
It's
Shit, can you
so
imagine all the
interesting.
shit that you have to explain to somebody born in the year 2007
It's
when they ask you like,
ridiculous.
what was it like before 2007? Like,
Yeah.
I had a and let me tell you, bro, shit was wavy. You don't know about that.
They all asked me, is like, yo, what was it like being here when you were here? What was it like when you were here? Did you like being here?
What was it like being here when you were here?
I was like, I liked it a lot. And they were
Was
like,
it-
but then
Before you guys were around.
one of my teachers
was
who
the
was
PS3
electricity
really
back then.
$599 US?
one of my teachers who was actually like a teacher I had, he had to say, he's like, yeah, of course he loved being here. He was our valedictorian. He had a 4.0 GPA, and I was like, and all the kids like, oh, you a nerd then. And I was like, all right, I guess I've just been discredited
Look at this
somehow.
nerd over here.
Exactly. And then but like they all really enjoyed the presentation I gave. But it was just really interesting to see that, because I was like, they were like, oh yeah, so who was your favorite teacher? And I was like, I'm here sweating because I'm like, my favorite teacher is actually not here anymore, so I can't really.
Favorite teacher's dead.
Not this.
Jesus
I
Christ.
can't like say anything, but I was just like, well, obviously your teacher right here is my favorite teacher. And he looked at me, he's like, I know you're
So you lied?
He looked at me and he's like, I know you're bullshitting. I'm like, I'm gonna text you on Instagram later because we follow
Did
each
he
other.
really?
He did.
Wait,
He's like, I know you're bullshitting me. and I was like, look, no one is gonna know.
Lord,
like,
stop lying.
I was like, no one was gonna know, so I'm not gonna be like, hey, my favorite teacher is this person, but this person's no longer here.
So 2007. That means in 2017 they were 10.
Yep.
So
We were
at
in
that
college.
point, yeah, we were in college. At that point, they were. So I'm just imagining them playing something like the latest Sonic games and then researching the series and then asking you, it's like, so you were around when Sonic 06 came out? It's like, Jesus.
I like
Oh
you.
my
If you
God.
think about it, they came. I said they're. I was gonna say they came out like a video game. They came out when the Nintendo Wii came out.
I was about to say
Oh,
the
God.
same
Well,
shit.
no, the Wii
yeah.
was out already. The Wii was out for
But
a
that was
year.
Bro, the
that
Wii
was
was
their
out.
yeah.
was
That
out.
was their
They were just a year off.
They're
before
late.
Brawl.
That
We
was-
was on time.
Yeah.
They're late.
that was the console that was around at that time.
Hell, the 360 was 2 years old at that point.
Bro, if you want to be accurate, the DS Lite came out when they came out.
Was
And
that
those are-
2007?
Yeah, that was 07, I think. Let's see.
And those are
DS Lite.
see.
considered retro consoles now.
Oh, no, the DS Lite is older than them, bro.
When did it come out?
2006.
So you were a year off, but
I
damn.
didn't even know about the DS Lite. If you
So I
want a
guess
console,
they grew up with the DSi.
they grew up with the DSi, bro. By then, I was like, yeah, you missed out on a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's just so. It's so weird to me, man. Like
Yeah.
seeing all these kids who are like 2000, like they're like, I was born in 2010. I was born, and I'm like, wow, man.
Fuck. All right, 2010's even worse. I was in high school at that point. Like, don't do that to me.
Yeah,
God, I
that's
know-
actually the weirdest thing is that like
Damn.
the class that I was in was not a freshman class. I saw a freshman class and they were born in 2010, and I was like, oh my god.
Well, I have a brother
yeah.
who was born in '07, so he's basically the same age as those kids you're talking about. So what, they were 14, 15?
Yeah.
That's crazy though. Fuck.
Yeah. I mean,
We're old, man.
We're old. We're only like
old.
in our mid-20s, and
We're not
we're
old.
already
Calm-
feeling like
calm
we're
down,
old.
Lawrence. We're what's considered the new kids on the block. If you want to talk about old people, then you're talking
Like the
about
band?
boomers, right?
Like the boy band?
Yeah, sure.
Whatever. Old people are boomers.
Yeah, I like look. I obviously I don't think we're actually old, but it makes us feel old when we talk about this kind of thing.
Yeah, because when you talk about like 2006, 2007, for us that was like just the other day. But it's not our fault that people were popping babies back then who don't know shit about like
Oh,
the
yeah.
DS Lite or YouTube, like early YouTube or Zynga or BBM or AIM or Club Penguin, because they didn't have that. And the other thing too is when it comes to like internet and like internet, video games, movies, pop culture and media, that shit moves so fast that
Yeah.
they have their own shit now that they wouldn't even be able, if they try to think back to the last 10 years of what was out, they can't, because so much shit comes out. They're like, hey Arnold, I know that show. I better look at one of them and be like, name one character in the show. Arnold.
Oh my god.
I mean, they're not wrong. He is a
They
character.
didn't watch Hey Arnold, but they know Arnold because he's cool. Like the shirt,
Named their
the
whole
show is cool
neighborhood.
now. Like all the shows we grew up with.
Well,
are
they
cool.
did release that Jungle movie, so I guess maybe they watched that, if anything.
Maybe.
I guess.
Probably, but the point is like they didn't grow up. Like they don't know about the TV show. And the other part too is that they're gonna say kids born like in the early 2010s, like from 07, 06 to like 20 what 10, 11. They're gonna say like, yeah, we grew up with that show. But the thing is that the only reason they say that is because everything that was out when we were kids in the early 2000s, so like 2000 to 2005, is cool now. Like best example is like all these shows and movies that are getting remakes now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of one. The Rugrats got a remake, right?
It was interesting.
Wait, they got a
SpongeBob
remake?
is
Yeah.
still going and probably going to get another movie. Like these things
Oh,
are still going to
absolutely.
get remakes. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl just got a remake. 2 remakes last year. So all the games that came out in the early 2000s and movies, like they're going to stay relevant and stay cool for a while.
I sort of get what you're saying, because I mean,
Like they're
I
bringing
know
them back. Everything that was cool 20 years ago is being brought back.
well, yeah, exactly. Like it's like when we were young, they were making remakes or callbacks to like stuff from the 80s, and obviously we weren't born in the 80s, so it flew over our heads. But people our age around that time when we were kids were like, oh shit, yeah, that was the shit when I was young, and now we're experiencing that now because we're getting
Oh
shit like
yeah.
Gen 4
Star
remakes
Wars.
and all.
Oh,
I
yes, this is
especially
awesome.
think that, I mean, I know we've mentioned this story to you guys before when me and Isaac were at our old high school. We went to visit and we met like a sophomore, and she was like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
yeah.
you guys graduated, right?" And we were like, "Yeah, we graduated 2014." And then we asked her like like how old she was, like what grade she in, and she was like, "Oh, I'm a sophomore. I'm only 15." And we just like deflated at that point because we were already in our
Deflated.
20s, and we were just like, "Fuck." That's wild. And you know, I find it interesting that we love comparing stuff in terms of what came out around then, cuz I feel like that's a lot of people do that. They gouge it by like the cultural stuff that was big at the time. Like I've mentioned this to other friends and they laugh whenever I mention it, but it's true. One thing that I always gauge that kind of thing with is if you were born like after 2004 or whatever, that means you weren't around when Shrek was like the most popular thing on the planet.
Yeah.
That was a big cultural icon for kids our age when it came out in 2001, and I think 2004 was the sequel. So it's wild to think that for me, it was wild to consider kids being born and just not knowing who Shrek was. Like, they're just like, what's that?
Even now, they're like kids don't know who Shrek is.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's weird to me because I'm like, damn, that was like the biggest animated movie ever when I was a kid.
But they know who Travis Scott is
too.
Yeah, like literally, I think Shrek
Everyone
2.
knew Shrek.
Shrek 2, I think, was the most popular like animated movie period for a while until Toy Story 3 beat it like 3 or so years later.
It's so interesting.
I think
it was a little while later than that.
I think it was 2010 when Toy Story 3 came out. So yeah, like 6 years later.
For me, I still think like Shrek made a bigger cultural impact than Toy Story 3. Maybe the earlier Toy Story films had a bigger cultural impact, in my opinion, than Toy Story 3.
Definitely, bro. Toy Story 1 literally started the end. Well, it didn't start, but
yeah, Toy Story 1 was the first CG animated movie.
I cannot go and say that that Toy Story had a bigger cultural impact than. I'm not saying I'm disagreeing with you, Eric. By the way, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying that it had. I'm not comparing cultural impact at all. I'm just saying that people born after Shrek, which objectively had a humongous cultural impact.
Yeah.
It's wild to me because they're like, yeah, who's Shrek? What is that? I've never even heard of that. I'm just like, are you kidding me? That was the shit when I was your age.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What's going on?
Yeah,
why do I feel like I'm balding already? And you know, it's a whole thing. Although with Toy Story, it's interesting because I think a big reason why that movie was so popular.
Busted.
Toy Story 3, yeah, sure. Toy Story 3 to be specific is because let's face it, a lot of kids who watched the first two were around Andy's age when that one came out. Like Andy was about to go off to college, and a lot of people who grew up with Toy Story 1 and 2 when they originally came out, obviously we watched it later, like through reruns and stuff.
Right.
They were going off to college too, so that was a big thing for them. Like, oh man, I'm finally seeing the conclusion, and it's the conclusion everyone predicted, where it's like, yeah, he's gonna leave and grow up. So that's why everyone rushed to see. I mean, and then Toy Story 4 came out a little while later, but obviously, like at the time, that was supposed to be the end. So that was why it was so popular, and why it ended up beating Shrek 2.
Yeah.
Man, that's
also yeah. Just to add on to that, obviously, because it's related. But Toy Story 3 was also just like the Toy Story franchise coming back for the first time in a while.
Yeah, that's the thing. There was a big
like 20 years.
Whoa!
All right, it was not 20 years.
20 years.
Jesus.
Not 20 years. More like what? 12?
Let me look it up. I don't think it was 12 either, but let me see.
I think Toy Story 2 came out in like 1999 or 2000.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Toy
Story 2. Toy Story 2 had an N64 game. That's
oh god, that's how long ago
it came out in the year 2000, so at least 10 years later.
I'm checking right now. I'll let you know. My internet's being weird.
I can't even imagine the fact that Toy Story 1 came out in the 90s, man.
Bro, it came out in 93.
Are you serious?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was 95.
Wow. 95, my bad.
Wow.
Wow, Wikipedia does not want to load on...
Yeah, 95.
That's insane,
you're right, 95.
Man. 90. I can't even imagine it coming out in 95. I feel like it's so close to us that, like, I feel like it came out in, like, 2000. And then Toy Story 2 came out in, like, 2002. But, like, that's not what happened at all.
So, Toy Story 1 is 1995. Toy Story 2 is 1999. Toy Story 3 is 2010, and then Toy Story 4 is 2019.
Yeah, so almost 11 years later.
Yeah,
11 years. Jesus,
that's a long time in movies.
I mean, yeah, it is. No doubt about it. I always did wonder why it took so long, but I think it was on purpose. Honestly, they wanted the kids growing up with those movies to be around Andy's age when Toy Story 3 came out.
Not the founders, but the heads at Pixar said that they came up with the idea for Toy Story 3 and other movies at a dinner, and they were just like, yeah, what if we told the story about Andy going to college and having to leave the toys behind? And that's how they came up with the idea. And then somehow they were like, what if we made a movie, but a real life movie about Buzz Lightyear?
And then guess what? Now we're doing
now we're doing that.
Now the next film that's coming out is To Infinity
Lightyear
and Beyond.
What if
it's called
decanonize?
Lightyear,
What if we decanonize Buzz Lightyear as Star Command?
Yeah, I was gonna say there was already a cartoon that sort of
Yeah.
did that.
That explored the quote-unquote
It was
real
such
Buzz
an
Lightyear.
interesting cartoon. Also, like I really
Buzz
enjoyed
I mean, it was
Lightyear
it.
just it was a
Adventures, something?
typical Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
That was kind of the
The
appeal.
cool
I don't
thing-
know if I'd say it was that interesting.
I liked
Because
it.
the cool thing with that cartoon was that it was technically canon to the Toy Story mythos. Because
Yeah.
when they started those episodes, it would show like Rex and Buzz and all that just watching the show on Andy's TV Saturday
true.
mornings. So like it was the show that aired in the Toy Story universe.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
No, I'm not saying the show is bad. I'm just like the way Lawrence was talking about it was he was acting like it was the next Avatar: The Last Airbender, Batman the Animated Series, where it's like it was just a Saturday morning cartoon. It was a fun
Yeah.
one.
Well, that's why I enjoyed
But-
like even the Goofy the Goofy show, whatever it was called.
Goof Troop.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. I don't know, like
I'm
I
not
feel like
saying they're not. What the fuck? Jesus.
I'm sorry.
He's like defending himself for something I never even said.
Eric, please, before you say anything.
Oh man, that was funny. But yeah, no, I liked Goofy movie, like, and I liked.
That was a great movie.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yay.
And I really liked Extremely Goofy movie also.
That's one of the better Disney direct-to-DVD sequels,
Yeah.
I'd say. Goofy
And-
movie is still better though.
I swear,
I'm,
like
I'm
I
glad
will
we watched the
still-
Goofy movie that weekend at the hotel.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm glad.
still
Comic-Con.
watch that. Like it's like a go-to like
It's
fun
a fun
movie to put
rewatch.
up.
It's
Yeah.
always fun on rewatches
It's a
because
really good movie.
and I will say this. I know I've been saying it's like stuff like Goof Troop and whatever. They're like Saturday morning cartoons and they're great when it comes to that. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it on the same level as like insane acclaim like say Avatar: The Last Airbender or whatnot. But
Right.
I will say Goofy movie, I would legit say it's probably one of Disney's best, which is crazy because that was a lot more of a low-key release for them, where it's like, yeah, Goof Troop's popular, let's make a movie and stuff. But legit, that movie is great because
On
the whole
open
father-son-
road.
all right, well, not because of that. The whole father-son dynamic was really well done in that
Yeah.
movie. I really feel like they don't go out of their way to make one of them like the clear, obvious person you should side with. That they have, you can see both of their arguments in
Right.
terms of like how they want their relationship to be. And surprisingly, for a movie starring fucking Goofy, there's some really mature,
Yeah.
emotional scenes in that movie.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's wild when you watch it.
It's to a point where it's like, man, I wish they would reference this shit more often, like in Kingdom Hearts and all that. Like you mentioned it before, but I like that they shouted it out in House of Mouse when they had Roxanne and Max. in there.
Yeah, Roxanne was in one episode of House of Mouse. I think that's the
Oh,
only other
yeah.
appearance she ever made. Although fun fact, I don't know if you remember there was a direct-to-DVD Christmas special
Oh,
movie called.
yeah.
Yes,
I
yes,
do
I know
remember
exactly what you're
this.
talking
Well,
about.
there were two. Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas was 2D, and then the sequel was 3D,
3D,
Twice Upon
yeah.
a Christmas.
Yeah.
So
I
if
I
you
know
remember,
exactly what you mean.
okay, do you know what I'm about to say?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Though.
So in Twice Upon a Christmas, there was one of the stories there was about Max visiting his dad with like his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was just a generic looking like short-haired girl. But originally, they actually wanted Roxanne for that part in that short story for the movie, but
They
they
should've
couldn't
done it.
because she had long hair, and apparently that was really hard to animate. So they just went with a generic short-haired girl.
So just give her a different hairstyle for
Yeah,
it.
just that's what I'm saying. I was like,
Give
why
her a
not just
hat.
say that's Roxanne then? Like you could
Yeah.
just be like, oh, she got a haircut, and that's it. Like it's a really
Bro.
weird reason. I mean, I get it in a sense that
get
I'm
it,
sure
but
they're
damn.
not lying. Like, because I don't know what animation is like, so I'm sure that was probably an issue back then. Because this was like mid 2000s when that movie came out. So
My God.
CG animation was not as advanced as it is now. But I'm gonna look up the date for that movie now just to
Right.
be sure. But yeah, that was a thing. Roxanne was supposed to appear in that movie, but she didn't. It was just a generic short-haired girl.
I also thought it was also always just so interesting whenever like in the Goofy movie, one of my favorite moments is when frickin' Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse show up on the in that one song on
Oh,
Up
and
the
that
Road.
one song. Yeah.
Dude,
They
it was
like
cameo.
It
it's
was
a cameo.
it's so fun because I feel like Disney movies aren't that fun anymore. You know, like they don't poke fun, and I feel like they're all like, I feel like in a weird way, I know they're still lighthearted, but they take themselves a little too seriously, and like we need to like do X, Y, and Z because that's the formula. But like
Well, you know,
when you watch Goofy movie, it just has so much fun with itself. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, again, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse are on the are like they make a cameo, and then like the music is really good, and obviously, Powerline is either Prince
Powerline
or
is
Michael
it's
Jackson.
Prince and Michael Jackson
Yeah,
combined is
exactly.
the vibe I got.
That's
from
what I
it.
always got too. I was like, and like the music again, the music is just so good, and I just feel like you can, you know, like if you go and like watch Frozen, which is still a great movie. Admittedly, yes, it is maybe a little more of a serious tone for obvious reasons. It's a Disney princess movie. It's like it it definitely is like, you know, I'm the ice queen, please, you know, like I want everything to work out, I love my sister. And here it's like, we're on a road trip, we're on you know, like you get what I mean. It's very much like
well, you know, the
very
So
other thing.
I get what you
lighthearted.
mean, but I'm not too crazy about that song. That's why I'm like, well, not that. I do love a lot of the songs in the movie, but not that one. That one's like okay, but I
Wait,
love the
on the
one that
open
Max
road?
sing.
Oh
Yeah, I'm
no,
not
no,
too
I mean
crazy about that
just
one.
in general, like
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I love the two Powerline songs, and
Oh,
I
the
love
other
the
good.
song Max sings near the beginning after today.
Oh
That's a good
yeah,
song
yeah.
too. Like there's that movie is fun, has some great songs, but at the same time, there's also a good balance. Because yeah, like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of quiet, mature moments. Like for God's sake, there's a line in this movie that if you read it out of context, you might think this comes from like a profound adult Shakespearean movie or something. It's the part where they're going down the waterfall or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then they're arguing, Goofy and Max. And then Max is like, "I'm not your little boy anymore, Dad. I'm grown up. I have my own life." And then Goofy goes, "I know that. I just wanted to be part of it." And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
"God
dude!
damn,
I got
Right.
goosebumps
Jesus
after you
Christ!"
just said that too. Like I'm
And
like,
I'm
wait,
like,
I remember this.
I want to send that quote to someone who has never seen that movie, and then just have them try and guess where it comes from. They'll probably guess it's from some like adult drama. And it's like, no,
Oh, is it
that's from
from
a
La La
Goofy
Land?
movie. That's from a Goofy movie.
Oh
You
my-
know,
Go ahead, Ray.
yeah, Lawrence. The other to add on to your thing, the other thing too is that we haven't had a movie in a long time that starred around Mickey Mouse or Goofy or any of the
Yeah.
like the Disney central
classic ones.
characters. Yeah, the classics.
It,
It's
We
been
did.
like
What
that
yeah,
for
about
a
those
while.
shorts that are pretty good?
they
Those
are
Shorts are
good,
good,
mouse
yeah.
shorts.
but I feel like they're not enough. You know, like I feel like
Like,
if you
we haven't had a
remember
full out movie
House of Mouse,
in a
like if you
while.
guys remember House of Mouse, you were talking about it earlier. Like I remember, like again, Saturday mornings, sitting in front of the TV, House of Mouse is on. If I wasn't watching like any of the other like Saturday morning stuff, House of Mouse is on, and you just see all these really cool shorts, and I really enjoy that because I feel like that was the last real time we saw something like
Well, I
Mickey
guess if you
Mouse
want
is
to
like
count,
you're still your front character, but I feel like they're just like trying to find other things to do with those
I guess
characters.
if you want to count, I guess DuckTales the reboot, and then
Which
Yeah,
is
that's
which is great.
That-
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great reboot actually.
It is a good
It really
reboot.
is, yeah.
And I wish they did more of that. Like I feel like
Well, I mean, they definitely just designate it to TV shows now. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's also like Three Caballeros.
Oh yeah,
show,
yeah.
right?
That was actually
The-
pretty good when we saw that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I watched that just because like my cousin had told me to watch the original, so I watched the original. Which
Wait,
by
you
the
watched
way,
the original movie?
yes, which by the way,
That
it's
short ass movie.
it's both problematic at points, but also like it is a trip if you watch it like when you're high. Or
Is that
something
the
like that.
one where Donald gets horny and just chases women
That's
on
why
the beach?
I'm telling you it's problematic. It is hella problematic at points, literally. But it is a trip. Again, it
Yeah.
is a trip. If you ever get a chance, definitely I recommend, like watching it and sit down like if you just have like couple hours. It's really good. It is Disney history. I think it's from the 50s. I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, 1944. That is, I was actually off by 6 years. Yeah, movie is
The
from
year was 1957.
Oh god.
All right, let's stop.
Let's not.
The movie is from 1944. I watched the entire thing, but it still holds
That's like
up.
that's like the second or third. No, it's in the first 10 movies they ever made.
Yeah.
I know that at least because the second one was Pinocchio, third was Dumbo, I think, and then after that they do like a lot of weird sort of short story movies.
Yeah.
By the way, I looked it up. Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas is 2004. So yeah, that's obviously Pixar was making some cool, great 3D animated movies at that time. But if you remember, Disney struggled with 3D animation for a while.
Yeah.
So 2004, I can believe that they were having issues with long hair in that movie. So,
2004.
yeah, dude, 2004.
Like
the election had just ended when this movie came out.
Spider-Man 2?
the entire I feel like the entire late 2000s, early 2000s, Disney shifted their focus away from the cartoon stuff and the princess stuff to focus on Disney Channel stuff.
I don't know if I'd go. I mean, I guess
Generally.
TV wise, they did because there was a time where they were making animated shows, and they still did occasionally. Like they made Phineas and Ferb and stuff, and all that. But obviously, the focus became a ton of teen centric sitcoms.
Yeah.
So that was a whole thing. When it comes to their movies, they definitely tried to bring back 2D or to keep 2D animation going. Because I don't know if you remember, but 2009, and I think the next year later, there were 2D animated movies that came out in the theater. In 2009, it was Princess and the Frog.
Oh yeah.
And it was 2011 was Winnie the Pooh.
Did you watch
which
Princess
was 2D
and the
as
Frog?
well? I did. I saw it in
actually
theaters, and it was really cool seeing a 2D animated movie in theaters.
Yeah.
But yeah, after those two, because they did well and they reviewed well, but they didn't sell like as many tickets. Like the box office wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing.
Right.
But then around that time, they also did Tangled, and Tangled, despite being super expensive, became super popular and made way more money. And at that point, it was just. At that point, they knew it was like, yeah, 3D is the future, so that's what they focused on after that.
Really weird if you think about it, because I feel like Tangled, I barely remember it. I feel like it had as very little cultural impact compared to Princess and the Frog. I feel like lots of people.
I disagree.
Well, I think that
I would
Princess
also
and the...
disagree on the grounds that they got an animated spin-off series, which ironically is 2D.
Also, people love Tangled. To the point where when Frozen came out and started blowing up, people were like, there was a sizable amount of people going, no, Tangled is way better. Fuck Frozen.
Do you think people still
I'm not sure.
remember that?
I'm not sure where.
Well, more
I'm
like...
not sure where you're
Oh, you
coming.
like Frozen? Oh, you like Frozen? Fuck you,
Do you guys feel like that movie is still kind of like... I don't want to say relevant, but like... You feel like a lot of people remember Tangled to this day?
I will say this. I have a German friend who is not big on Disney movies, and he loves Tangled. So yeah, I would say so. I think, in general, that's a Disney movie that people still like.
Also, that movie was like big enough to get its own world in Kingdom Hearts.
It got its own world in Kingdom Hearts. Like Ray said, it got a
really?
2D show.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Tangled world in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I haven't played any of the Kingdom
And it was
Hearts.
better than the Frozen world, I'll tell you that much.
Damn.
I don't know.
And like Ray said, it also got a 2D show years later, and I heard it was good.
Yeah, it was. There's like there's a whole timeline, like chronologically, like how to watch the entirety of like
Tangled?
the Tangled series. Like,
There's wait, what?
The movie, you watch the movie, then you watch the shorts that were on the DVD but are now on Disney Plus. And then you watch the show, and then you watch the last 10 minutes of like the movie, which is like after the series.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because the series is like, it takes place in that interim between
I love that Lawrence is like,
the
well,
climax of the
I
movie
don't
and-
remember it, so clearly it had no cultural impact.
No, I mean, I remember it. I just don't think it, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just didn't think that it really was, like, as big as, like, Frozen. Objectively. Like, I feel like a
Bro.
I mean,
lot more
Frozen made
people-
more money, yeah.
I feel like a
and
lot of
stuff.
people will remember Elsa over Rapunzel. You know?
Nah,
I
people
feel like
remember
people remember
Rapunzel.
Rapunzel.
People
Right.
remember Rapunzel. People
Yo,
remember
Ray and
Flynn.
I'll say this. Well, I'll say something after Eric says what he wanted to say.
No, I was just saying. It's like I was just saying. It's like, nah. I'm pretty sure plenty of people still remember all those characters. People remembered appearance from the movie. They didn't even say a word in those movies, but people remember them
Yeah.
because their crying scenes were so well done. But yeah, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say because Lawrence was saying that he saw the movie, but he just doesn't. You said like you saw the movie, but you don't really remember it as much as Frozen.
Right.
I never saw the movie, bro, and even though I didn't see it, and I don't have an opinion on Tangled, even though I saw like the trailer and I've seen like clips of it on YouTube and stuff. I did see Frozen, but still, a lot of people like Tangled. My girlfriend's favorite, like Disney, of the Disney princess movies, her favorite is Tangled. So there are people that still like that movie.
Yeah.
I think, like when it comes to, if it was like a contest of which one people remember more fondly, I definitely feel like it's Tangled over Frozen.
Because you gotta
Frozen
remember,
is a close
Frozen-
second.
Frozen
a
is
close second.
big, but a lot of people also don't like it. Partly because it became so popular that they got annoyed by it, which still whatever to me. I'm just like, to me at this point, if something's popular, I actually don't immediately dismiss it. I'm like, I wonder why it's popular. I give it
I think
somewhat
it-
of a chance, but
I think here's
yeah.
my opinion of it, but I think the reason why Frozen got so popular was because of the music more
Yeah,
than
definitely.
Tangled got more popular because it's a story based on something. It's based on a really well-known story of Rapunzel.
Let It Go was the song that like blew
Let it
up in that
go!
movie. To the point
Everywhere.
where KH3 fucking recreated it.
Oh, I remember that. I remember.
Like
when they
it's
did
literally the same like scene, but Sora and Donald and Goofy are in it.
that. Yeah, it's interesting, honestly, because I remember Caesar used to like reference the fact that you really liked Frozen.
God,
Eric.
I look, like I said, I was
That
young.
was a joke on the first podcast in Team Triforce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird because looking back, I mean, I don't hate it. I'm definitely not someone who's like, oh, I fucking hate Frozen, and I froth at the mouth at the mention of it. But I'm not crazy about it at all these days. In fact,
Eric.
I would say I'm part of the people that likes Tangled more.
Can't you just let it go?
Let It Go, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you
I saw that
one
coming.
You made a joke. You made that exact joke 7 years ago, bro.
7 years ago, thanks.
Yeah,
Man, you're just dating all of us today, huh?
bro.
Oh, man.
You've been dating, Lawrence. You've been dating
This
us since we
entire
started talking
podcast.
about your YouTube career.
the nostalgia podcast today.
I was
Hey.
like,
Oh,
"Is this
man.
the podcast today?" You dated us since we were talking about black and white on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, hey, yeah. I will say I'm surprised, Lawrence, that you thought Princess and the Frog had more of a cultural impact.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and let me.
Because, like I said,
let
it
me
did
explain
not
why.
tell much at all.
No, let me explain why. I feel like there was a lot of like, there was a lot of love and energy towards the fact that like there was finally a princess who was like African American, and I feel like that was, for me, that was the biggest thing. Like it wasn't just like light skinned
Raven.
princesses anymore. Like, and I'm not, obviously, like, yes, we had Mulan, we had Pocahontas, who were all like, who weren't exactly white.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but this was like the first time and this was also an original story too, essentially, where like, yeah, cool, we made essentially an original story. Yeah, sure, it was like the Princess Frog. Like, obviously, that's the
I mean,
story
it's
we all
based
know.
on it.
Yeah,
It's based on the Frog Prince.
right. And it's like, I feel like there was so many. I remember so many girls like going out to like little girls going out to watch it and feeling so like she looks like me, and I think that was like such. I feel like that was so great. seeing that. And I think that was the kind of the whole that was the whole thing for me why I think it definitely had a lot more impact in that way of like Disney is finally doing something that like they're making movies about characters that look more like the people who watch their stuff. And that was kind of what I was trying to get at, and that it was definitely one of those movies that made a big impact in Disney's like history, Disney's brand. Obviously now they're like diversity, they're just sprinkling diversity all over the place, right? But back then it wasn't, it was just like with their princesses and stuff like that, it just wasn't, it was not around. And then now obviously you have Moana, you have we have again we had Turning Red, like the little Asian girl. I know
That's
that's
Pixar.
yeah, but I know it's not exactly like a Disney princess movie, but like, what I'm saying is that they definitely went out and like on a diverse campaign, I guess. And I feel like that one was like in my opinion, it felt like a turning point for me. So that was like I think why I believe it had some sort of cultural impact, like more.
I mean,
More
I
cultural
don't
impact. My bad.
I don't disagree that it had an impact, because yeah, that was a thing at the time where a lot of people were like, "Oh, cool, an African American princess." Obviously, that some racists made us think about it, but who cares? And there was also a lot of like love being thrown out in the sense that people was like, "Wow, it's cool to see a 2D movie in theaters," because at
Right.
Disney stopped doing that for a little while. Because I don't know if you remember in like the mid to late 2000s, they were making some pretty mediocre to decent 3D movies like Bolt.
Yeah, I
Bolt was
remember
actually
Bolt.
pretty good. Chicken Little was real bad in my opinion, though. That came out around that
I
same
remember
time.
going out to see that opening weekend, and there was a huge line to go see it. Like it
Yeah,
was so weird to me, and then looking back, I'm like, this guy is falling.
it's I mean, I don't like that movie just because I don't know, that movie's just really mean spirited to me. Like the way they treat that little chicken dude was like, damn, bro. This kid's gonna grow up with mental health issues with the way his dad treats him. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But
Also too, I don't know if you guys noticed this while watching that movie, but that was surprisingly short for a Disney movie.
how
At
long was
least,
it?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but like it was pretty short. Let me look it up real
I'm
quick.
gonna look it
But
up too.
I was surprised by like as a kid how like, oh damn, it's over already.
2005. Jeez. I guess you're not wrong. It's only an hour and 20 minutes,
Yeah,
so it's a little shorter. Because
for a
usually
Disney
movies
movie.
are around like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I did remember it was a much shorter movie because when I went in, I kind of like I was I think halfway through my popcorn and the movie was already finished. Back then, I was the only one eating the popcorn, so it was like very much like I used to decide how long the movie was based on how much popcorn was left. And
There was supposed to be a sequel to that, by the way.
I remember like following this up when I was a kid. I'm like, yo, I can't wait for Chicken Little 2 and Chicken Little 3.
I don't know if there was supposed to be a third, but there was supposed to be a second
Yeah,
one.
You
but
were already looking forward to a third movie.
yes, I was what, like 10?
Lawrence
Never
thought this
mind.
shit was the
What
MCU or
about
something.
three?
It's like, oh man, 10 years of Chicken Little. I can't wait.
No, so
The
like,
CLCU.
jeez. No, so like, what was it? I remember I went to go watch Revenge of the Sith in theaters,
That was,
which
yeah,
was
2005.
such a great movie to watch in theaters back then. And my entire popcorn was gone. That's how I knew that it was a longer movie than most. You know.
Yeah, it was the end of the prequels.
Yeah, and I remember that was my introduction to Star Wars. So that made me go back and watch all the Star Wars movies because I was like, wait, how the hell did we get here? Wait, Darth Vader? And I was like, I didn't watch the prequel. The original trilogy before that. So I was like, this was the right moment for me because then I went to go as soon as I finished Revenge of the Sith, like that week, I went to go like watch episode 4, 5, and 6, and I was like, oh, it makes sense now.
Okay. But yeah, I was just like, to go back a bit. Princess and the Frog definitely had an impact, but I'd say Tangled is definitely much more remembered at this point, just for the sheer fact that more people watched it. Because, like I said, it was not watched by as many people as Tangled.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I know that was just me. That was just me when it came to Princess and the Frog. Um, but maybe I will go back in a couple of weeks or something and rewatch Tangled again.
He's gonna go through the entire Tangled universe.
Yes,
He's gonna go through the order
since
that
Ray
sent.
mentioned that there is a chronological sequence to this, I'm gonna go and watch it now.
Yeah, the order is actually, I just posted it in the chat from
Rip.
one of the people that worked on the show. Is like, for those looking to start Tangled, here is the order: Tangled, Tangled Before, Ever After, Tangled the series / Rapunzel, Tangled Adventure, and then Tangled Ever After. All on Disney
Lots of
Plus.
Tangled.
Lots of Tangled, but it's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
I find this honestly so interesting. I find this so interesting that like
you act like Disney movies can't have spin-off shows.
No,
It's true.
no. It's just so interesting to me that there's an order to this stuff. You know, like it's like if you plan to delve into the Tangled cinematic universe, that you're gonna start first with Tangled, and then you're gonna go into Tangled Before.
I like that this blows his mind, but superheroes requiring like MCU requiring fucking Disney Plus shows, like, oh, that's fine.
It doesn't blow my mind like that. It blows my mind because it doesn't seem like this is something that would require there to be extra steps.
Well,
to it,
when you make spin-offs, you kind of have to at that point.
The only reason I'm not. Okay, I've accepted the fact that the MCU has delved into both TV shows and movies. Not that I'll enjoy the shows. Why not? You know? But, like, they already prepped us for this, like, a while back. So, when I see that there are things that actually have, like, a chronological order to enjoying them, like Tangled, I'm like, wait, really? There's a chronological order?
Okay, here's the thing.
It's like Clone Wars. I'm trying my best to go through that stuff right now, and I'm like, isn't there a chronological order to actually enjoy these shows?
Because Clone Wars was an anthology series, so obviously some episodes take place, at this point in the timeline.
And I know Ray showed it to me. Someone
made a chronological list.
And so I'm like, I could absolutely go and do that, but I'm literally like, I just started I put volume 1 on the other day, and I was just
what's volume 1? You mean season?
No, the not the 3D animated Clone Wars. The I'm starting with the 2D one first.
Oh, well, just watch it on YouTube. Someone put it all in a big compilation. Nah, watch it on YouTube instead.
Also, technically, you don't need to watch that because that's not canon.
I mean, but you should.
Wait, really? It's not canon anymore?
You should.
I mean, it hasn't been canon for a while.
Like, you should watch it because it's cool, but it's not required to watch it for like the canon material.
It's not canon. Once Disney bought Star Wars and stuff, that was one of the things they nuked. Was the 2D Clone Wars? They kept the 3D Clone Wars in the timeline, but not the 2D one.
Damn, that's
kind of weird because it can fit.
Yeah,
fine,
it can fit. In fact, actually, there are people making a canon edit of the 2D one, so that you can actually watch it with the Clone Wars show.
When I was a kid, I really enjoyed the 2D animated Clone Wars. Like, I did
too. I don't think anyone
it's a surprise to me
when
I hear that it's not canon. I know, obviously, I'm behind on the times. Like, very similar to how I was behind on the times with Sonic.
God.
But I'm just saying that, like, it's so interesting because my plan, obviously, it's only like an hour and a half. My plan was just to watch the
because a lot of those episodes are short,
and just go straight from there into
3D
the
one?
3D one. Obviously, watch the movie first, and then watch the.
Well, if you watch in release order, you could watch the movie first. But if you watch like the chronological order, then the movie comes later on, I think.
Oh yeah, When I get a chance, I'll get that chronological order from Ray, and I'll.
I mean, it's literally on like Reddit or something.
Oh, really?
Just search like Clone Wars chronological order, and you'll find it.
I mean, it is on Reddit, but like the document is better because like it's constantly updated and all that, and then also he also has like a second list where in case you want to watch like other Star Wars media in addition to that, you can do that as well.
Sure. But I'm just saying in general, it's easy to find like the chronological order online.
Right. Yeah.
But I will say this, because you kept going on about like how you're surprised, and I made the comparison to MCU and all that. But I guess there's one big difference. See, this whole Tangled thing where it's like, oh, here's how you go through it. It's not required. You don't have to go through the spin-offs.
Yeah,
it's like, if you want to engage with everything Tangled has to offer, then yeah, this is how, if you want to go in order, you would do it. But you don't have to. You could just watch Tangled and that's it. MCU is different in that they're essentially like, oh no, this is homework, bitch. Watch it.
Yeah, like you're not required to watch the Tangled series if like you just want to enjoy the movie on its own. Like you could do that because that was the original plan.
That is the big difference, because with apparently with fucking
like you don't need to watch
Madness,
Buzz Lightyear of Star Command to enjoy.
You gotta watch WandaVision. You gotta watch Marvel. What if?
Yeah.
And I'm not watching that. I'm sorry.
Oh, and you gotta watch. Technically, you do have to watch No Way Home to understand like what
I watched that
what the exposition is. But for people who haven't watched it yet, like you have to watch that too.
Yeah, like that. I guess that's the big difference, because the MCU essentially treats it as homework.
Also, you only need to watch one What If Marvel What If. Well, actually,
you gotta watch
you technically need to watch like
watch
the whole season, because at the end something happens that's related to the movie. But
yeah, I'm not doing that.
Also, you don't need to like play through Kingdom Hearts just to like if you're watching through. If you're watching through like Toy Story, you don't have to like play through Kingdom Hearts for like the Toy Story world in that. Like that's not required viewing.
No,
for,
even though it is apparently canon.
I feel like that.
No, it is canon, but you don't need to see that though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it still is canon.
That part I knew.
It's not important.
Obviously, I've watched all of the Toy Story movies, and I feel content watching all the Toy Story movies. And Buzz Lightyear Star Command. Yeah, like I'm not gonna imagine me finishing Toy Story 2 and say, alright, before I watch Toy Story 3, I'm gonna go play Kingdom Hearts, guys. Be right back.
I mean, you gotta play the entire series to understand.
Alright, guys, I'm gonna go play Kingdom Hearts 1. See you later.
Look, I'll even be honest. That Toy Story world, while it was cool to play, story-wise, it was honestly pretty disappointing outside of the ending with that meme moment with fucking Woody
and Sephiroth. I mean, Xehanort.
And Xehanort,
yeah. It may as well have been Sephiroth.
Like that was cool, but the story in that world was kind of whatever, because it's literally, hey, our friends are missing. Oh, we'll help you find them. They keep trying to find them. They never find them, and then they're like, it's okay that we never find them because they're in our hearts always, because that's how friendship works. All right, bye. That's it. That's the story in Toy Story world for KH3.
Like, in all fairness, if you watch the end credits for Kingdom Hearts 3, you do see that they get back to their world, obviously. And if it's canon, obviously, they do get back. Like, because they're there for Toy Story 3. But like we in the main world, we never see them like get back to their world. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, we'll just find some other way later.
Yeah, like, I'm just letting you know now, for anyone who is crazy enough to be like, I gotta play the Toy Story 3 world, or the Toy Story world in KH3, you'll be disappointed, because there's barely any story there. I am almost surprised they went out of their way to be like, yeah, it's canon.
Yeah, just watch the cutscenes on YouTube.
You can miss it and not miss a thing at all, honestly.
I find it so funny every time I hear Woody in Japanese, and when I hear Goofy in Japanese, it's so funny to me, because I'm like, all I'm thinking about is like imagining
Tom Hanks
and Woody Allen.
No, I'm imagining like what it would be like if they were in an anime. Like, I'm just like, it's like all I
Home
see
Improvement
is
anime.
Yeah, not them. I mean Woody and
Wait, what the fuck?
Polar Express anime.
Oh boy.
No, I just imagine Woody and Goofy as anime characters every time I see them in Japanese, because obviously, like, the original Kingdom Hearts is in Japanese, and I'm just like, wow, imagine them in an anime.
Well, see, the funny thing is that when they revealed the Toy Story world for the first time, they showed off the
Yeah.
cutscene in Japanese. So
Japanese,
you
yeah.
Yeah,
have
'cause
the dub actors.
that's the original version. So
That's the original version.
That's the scene I'm actually referring to because that's why
yeah,
I was just like,
technically the English version is the dub.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
Which
yeah.
is funny because the material is from an English product.
yeah.
Oh, that's the funny. Also, the funny part about Kingdom Hearts is like, wow, a lot of that stuff is English products, but they just Japanese it, you know?
It's like the whole thing. This is off topic, but it's like the Powerpuff Girls Z dub. How even though
Oh.
it's based on an American
Yeah.
product originally, they cut stuff from the Japanese version because there's some things that they basically 4Kidsified it.
Yeah.
Where there's humor from Japan that doesn't make it to the English market where they treat that kind of stuff differently. There, how there was an episode with the Rowdy Rough Boys where they pull down their pants and they show their butts to
Hey,
the girls
yo!
as a middle finger kind of thing, which is something that anime commonly does, but they censor that in the English dub version, by cutting the scene entirely. So you don't even see that, and then it's yeah, we get the censored version, even though it's originally based on an American product.
Yeah, and also what I'm thinking about is imagine fuck, I forgot my point now. Anyways,
On to my next point.
Turns
on
the
to my
page.
second point.
The Cuban Missile.
Oh right, Powerpuff Girls Z. Yeah, and it's funny that the only English dub was released only in the Philippines.
In the Philippines, that never came out in America.
Nowhere else.
No,
English dub for
nowhere
what?
else. For Powerpuff Girls Z, the Powerpuff
And it used
Girls
Canadian
anime.
actors because it was dubbed by
Canada didn't get it.
No.
Yeah, because that's here's the thing. It was dubbed by Ocean's Group, which handled the original Dragon Ball Z dub. But for some reason, even Canada didn't get an airing of it, if I'm not mistaken.
So the
But
only place that
Philippines,
got
nah.
it was the Philippines.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Which, by the way,
That's wild.
you still can't even find recordings or even bootlegs of it in the Philippines. By the way, I searched
Yeah,
a long
the
time. I
show was
searched
hard
the
to come
whole
by.
month that I was there last time to find that DVD for Ray because he really wanted to make an abridged series for it back then.
Way back in the day.
And I was like, all right, I'll help you. I'll find the English dub for you, so also you have something that you can watch.
Came back in tears, like I couldn't.
Yeah, no, I came back to him and I said, I am so sorry to disappoint you, Ray. I came back to acting class. I said, Ray, I'm so sorry I disappointed you. Here's some other stuff that I was able to get for you. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I looked it up right now. Powerpuff Girls Z, the English adaptation was produced with Ocean Productions in Canada, and it was aired on Cartoon Network in the Philippines and Boomerang in Australia and New Zealand. So there you go.
Interesting.
Only 3 countries got it,
Never America
or Canada.
or
The
Canada,
fucking country
North
that
America. Yeah.
handled the dub. I love the idea that Canada sends over their voice actors to do this, and they're like, "Oh, we don't want it though." It's like, what do you mean we don't want? Nah.
Nah. And obviously it seems that it didn't really make a big hit or anything because I couldn't find it at all. But somehow I could find other stuff there. It was just so interesting. I was able to find Equestria Girls before it was released on DVD.
Yeah, it was like a movie theater recording of Equestria Girls,
but it was
on
a
DVD
decent recording too.
before it came out on DVD in America.
Wow.
So I was able to get that for him. I was like, all right, I gotta find something else. But it was just they had that, which if I'm being honest, MLP is not exactly huge popular in the Philippines. But I was able to find that, but I was not able to find Powerpuff Girls Z. And the only place that legitimately had it besides Australia was the Philippines. And I was like, man, I could probably
Zealand
find
had
it
it
for
too.
$1. Yeah.
Well, New Zealand had it too.
But New Zealand
I eventually
probably not going to have it either.
The funny thing is, I eventually did find the first 26 episodes. At least it was on 2 DVDs, though. I think it was on eBay of Powerpuff Girls Z English dub.
You did purchase
But
it, right?
yeah, I did purchase it, so it's somewhere I think in my house. But
Somewhere out there.
but the remaining 26 episodes are like
Out there. Sorry.
the remaining 26 episodes still like at large, like don't
At
know where
large.
those are
Help wanted.
at.
Jesus. Fun fact, did you know Powerpuff Girls Z had a manga and a video game?
Yes, I did.
The
You're
video
looking
game was
at the
apparently
expert
fine
here,
anyway.
Eric.
Huh?
You're looking at the expert here, Eric. I told you, Ray really wanted to make that a bridge series, and he was very much into it.
Ray, did you know
Well,
that...
it's sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you know that the game was apparently a Mario Party clone?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Alright,
I know about that. Yeah, because
shut
it's not necessarily like the whole abridged thing, but like I was just a big fan of
Yeah.
that show because I was a Powerpuff Girls fan in general, like huge one back in the day. So when I heard about the anime, like I followed that as well. And then I saw, oh yeah, they had a video game. They had like toys and all that only came out in certain places. And yeah, their only video game was a Mario Party clone on the DS, and you can only play as 4 characters from the show.
Do you
I'm
have that
gonna
game?
assume that was not localized and it was a Japan-only release.
Japan only, yeah.
Oh man.
Guess who 3 of the 4 playable characters were?
The Powerpuff Girls?
Yep.
Who was the fourth
get-
then?
Take a wild guess.
The professor?
Oh,
Nah. Yep.
Wow.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
They didn't
wait,
even
Ray.
they didn't even add the other villains or side characters.
Or the professor.
Oh, the professor.
So Ray, is there footage of this game like on YouTube or something?
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. You can also find the sprites on Spiders Resource.
Oh my
wow.
god,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
And yeah, and then the manga I have not been able to find much on, like in terms of like scans and all that. Maybe if you look hard enough you can, but I heard that was like a that's one of those mangas that were only released in like magazines.
Yeah,
like, I don't
so
know
it
if
mi-
they
it
had,
might
like,
be hard to
volume
find.
compilations. Yeah.
Because if you remember, there was a fucking Crash Bandicoot manga too, but that's probably super
Crash
hard to find as well.
Bandicoot.
Yeah. God.
This is just like blowing my mind. It reminds me of the Hannah Montana anime that Eric loves to reference.
Oh my god.
I love to reference.
Eric
I barely,
Oh, but
I barely reference it.
No. It's just funny that you called it the Hannah Montana on that one podcast episode that we did a while back.
Did I say
think
that? I thought someone else.
It was
did.
either him or Isaac that said that.
Really? I know Eric made a
Hannah
joke about
Montana.
the Jonas Brothers anime.
The Jonas
The Jonas
arc.
Brothers arc.
Anime.
That was
Jonas
me.
That was Eric.
That was the Jonas arc.
Yeah, Eric made
His
a
fa-
Jonas arc.
his favorite Yu-Gi-Oh arc. Yeah, so this the Hannah Montana anime though, like that was literally just going to be a similar concept to Powerpuff Girls Z, even right down to the same studio, Toei Animation.
I
There
guess
was
they
basi-
just loved making like Japanese like adaptations of
spin-offs
American
of
stuff.
American properties that were popular and turning them into magical girl anime.
Yo, imagine the Zack and Cody anime.
Zack and Cody, fucking Drake and Josh anime.
Oh my god, bro. Don't get me started on what could have happened, but when you don't get invited to the anime remake,
All right.
The message is clear.
sayonara, brother.
Sayonara, brother.
Sayonara.
Someone should
Drake-
make
and
a
Josh.
fan. There should be a fan made Drake and Josh anime, just a script of of like based on Drake and Josh, but like 5 years after the show ends, and like it starts off at Josh's wedding, and Drake is like, "You didn't invite me, brother."
God.
I still am so just perplexed that Toei just really wanted to make stuff like that because they were doing stuff like, One Piece, Dragon Ball,
Dragon Ball.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, but then they make that. Just like really,
Yeah.
okay.
Hannah Montana, because Hannah Montana was the biggest shit out there.
Well,
the
yeah,
time.
and like the mid to late 2000s, it was huge.
like
But
I
then
get
by
it.
the time
I'm telling
they were going
you,
to produce
when-
that show, Hannah Montana was on
Was
its way
ending,
out, which was
yeah.
the problem.
at
Yeah.
the time, the first actually no, it was the second. It was the second 3D concert experience when like I don't know if you guys remember, but that was like around the time Real D 3D wasn't really like a big thing yet, but like there were occasional like events that would come out like the Jonas Brothers 3D concert experience. And then they had the Hannah Montana 3D concert experience. And I remember going out to watch that. And in that movie, they're saying that people were like selling tickets. We talked about this recently. They were selling tickets for $10,000 just for like general admission seats or like to those concerts. Or there was like a challenge from like a local radio station where you had to dress up in heels and run a race. And if you won tickets to go see Hannah Montana. And I'm just
God,
like,
dude.
wow, they don't do that nowadays. Nowadays, just like, oh, well, I don't have the money. That's fine. Guess I'm not going to go see Prince Royce or Bad Bunny. I mean, Eric in concert, you know?
Wow.
God.
I almost didn't catch that, too.
That would have been funny if you didn't. And then in playback, you're like, did he just call me Bad Bunny?
Yeah.
The joke is, for those that don't know, is that Isaac declared that Eric is Bad Bunny. Anyways, yeah. So it's just interesting to me that like back then they were really going hard on the Hannah Montana stuff. Like the concerts, like really like you couldn't get tickets, and I know that like Olivia Rodrigo right now, like it's almost impossible to get tickets to her concerts. But it's not $10,000 for a ticket. You know, I paid like, well, I didn't pay, but like I could buy a ticket maybe for $600, $800. Like still a lot, but like in the realm of concert tickets, $600 to $800 is not $10,000. You know. So that was just really interesting to me. And what's wilder is that there were people who were willing to pay that much money just to, you know, go like for their daughters to go see like their idol in concert. And there I remember she would like bring out like the Jonas Brothers like halfway through the show or something like that, and the little girls were like crying in the audience because they love the Jonas Brothers too. It was a moment to be alive, you know.
That was an error right there.
The Hannah Montana May arc.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway.
yeah. Nostalgia's a bitch, huh?
Man, did you want to talk about something specific? For
No,
this
I didn't have
episode?
any. I didn't have any thoughts. I'm glad that like we just
We
really.
had no topics.
No,
this whole
we had no
episode.
topics.
I thought we
but,
wanted
you know,
to talk about. I thought you guys would want to talk about No Way Home and Sonic 2.
Oh right.
We could.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's the good news. We really just kind of vamped for like a good hour and 45 minutes on nostalgia. That's great. Anyways, right. So our two, I guess we don't have to talk about them for like another 2 hours. I promise. We're
No,
already at-
we really. I mean, No Way Home is
Talks about
especially.
them for
Choose
It's
one.
over half a year old
so
now.
so let's do No Way Home. Next time we'll talk Sonic. I imagine people are still trying to go see Sonic anyways.
Yeah, that's
so-
true.
Annie.
That's true.
So everyone by this point has seen No Way Home. What a
It's
wonderful.
been spoiled the
Yeah.
fuck out of.
I'm
I haven't
sorry.
seen it yet.
themselves.
Sorry,
Have you really not?
if you haven't
No,
at
I
this
saw it.
point.
But imagine there's probably somebody who hasn't seen it yet.
Well, you know what? At this point, if you haven't even seen the memes on it, then like you're like sorry, you're a little late. You know,
I
it's
don't know
still
why the
showing in
part-
some theaters, by the way.
Yeah, it's true. You know,
Yeah.
I love the. I mean, to jump the gun a bit, I love the post-credit scene where we see Jared Leto as Morbius. He turns around and then he goes,
It's Morbid
"I like to
time."
morbid,
Oh.
morbid. I like to
Oh
morbid,
wait,
morbid."
I didn't see that one coming.
Morbius sweep.
Eric's
I
like,
like
gotta
to
keep them on
morbid,
their toes,
morbid.
man.
God.
It's
I was gonna
morbid
say
time.
earlier, I don't know why, but I was hoping Isaac actually meant it when he said like, "Oh, I haven't seen it yet, guys." Just fuck up his whole experience.
Still trying to watch Endgame.
Yeah,
Chinese
in
subs.
All
with
these
Chinese
years later.
subtitles.
God.
So No Way Home was a trip, man. That was great. That was such a great and
Like a
you know,
field trip.
yeah. But and I think Eric will probably bring this up later and during when he kind of talks about it, but it is comforting that by the end, they really start out Peter with nothing again, and like I feel like and I guess he'll kind of bring this up more, and I totally 100% agree with him on this. Is that like he spent the first like two movies or like at three if you count Civil War kind of being given everything, or four movies if you count Infinity War and all that,
He's
being
had it
given
too
everything.
good.
Yeah, he's had it too good. Like he has all the technology, he has everything. He gets the girl, he has the friends, he has the support system. We don't even see Uncle Ben die again. Like he has it. He's living the life essentially.
Which, in all fairness, like when he first appears, all of that is pretty much excused by the fact that we were so used to it with both
Right.
Toby and Andrew's
Right.
like movies
Excuse
beforehand.
on a good note. Like, but what I'm
But
saying is
when
that
you
like
look at
you
it
don't
on
have
like as a
to.
standalone Spider-Man, yeah,
We don't have you don't like as viewers. He has it good because we don't have to relive through those scenes where he gets bitten by the spider. He has to figure out how his powers work. He has to do all this stuff. He's just already like, you know, he's there. He's at the top of his game. He's about to save the world from a giant purple demigod, and he fights Mysterio, and he fights uh, Vulture, and then in the we all thought he had it kind of rough when he loses his one mentor in Tony Stark, but then this movie goes even further by saying like kill everyone else essentially, or not kill everyone else, but like remove everyone else that means anything to him from his life, and he's on his own now. And I think that's so interesting to me, and I guess cutting like bringing it closer to like another Spider-Man thing that I like, which is the video game, the PlayStation 4 game and 5. um, it's so like in that one, yeah, sure, he still has Aunt May, he has his friends. It's just, but like I can see him forming into that version of Peter who goes to Empire College and like, is like trying to just be. He's trying to learn how to be a responsible Spider-Man and how to like and all that. And I think that's so beautiful. Honestly, it's such a great way to see it. And normally, like, yeah, sure, I'd be like, what the fuck? What was that ending? I want more, because I'm like that. I watched Moon Knight and I was like, I want more, like, because it was just that good. But no, at this point, after seeing that, like, obviously we kind of know there's more, but I'm also comfortable. Like, let's say they really did say we're not going to make any more Spider-Man movies after this. I'd be okay with that for the like I think for once in my life I'm saying I'm okay with that because they tied it up really nicely. And even like um you know let's say in the future they say that for no spoilers again for Multiverse of Madness, if anybody's watched it in the audience. I'm also not gonna say because I haven't seen it. But let's say Doctor Strange dies or something, or like, or Wanda or anything, any of that happens, right? Like I feel like depending on how it's handled, I might be like okay with the way that like it ends because they've told their stories pretty much at this point, and I feel like I've grown up to the point where I'm like I don't. There are certain points where I'm just like I don't need to see anymore because I realize by now that sometimes further lengthening the story doesn't exactly like do any. So, it might not do good for a series, and so and I think that
Looking
kind of.
at you, The Walking Dead.
I think it goes back to a lot of the points that I've had in the previous years. You guys have seen me grown up a lot, obviously. From I love Iron Fist to I hate Iron Fist to where I am now, where I'm like, um, you know, I can really not. I can really survive now without seeing more from a story if it's really just kind of like it's come to a real conclusion. Um, and I think in Spider-Man No Way Home they really did that. Like if they decided that after this movie that's it, we don't have to tell any more part of the story, which I doubt because it's Spider-Man.
And the MCU.
Yeah, but if they did say right here, right now, we're not making any more Spider-Man movies, I'd be okay with that. Honestly, I feel like the way
I wouldn't. Really? That ended the whole of your conversation?
Damn, Eric, why you have to shut him down like that?
I'm surprised he's honestly saying that, because the way it ends, I'm like,
Lawrence,
yeah, I want to see what happens
saying-
next.
Are you saying that? What are you saying? That you don't mind if there are no more Spider-Man movies or no more Tom Holland movies? Spider-Man with Tom Holland movies,
both.
like Spider-Man.
Like the way they told this
over,
story,
period.
like the way they told this story makes me feel like
Okay.
I'm okay
Nah.
with forming my own story after this. Like I feel like
I
it's
see.
very rare with like those moments where like for example, at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I know we thought that there was going to be more The Amazing Spider-Man movies, and you know there's that call to make more ones.
Yeah, bro, there's gonna be more. Morbius.
God. But like my whole thing is, especially with that, is like after they kind of canceled that, they kind of just said, well, you know, now you guys just like what we can recommend is you guys just make your own like figure out your own ending for that series. And I was like, I don't like that at all. Like I think that was one of those moments where I was like, no, I don't like the fact that we don't get to see what happens to Peter after he loses Gwen. You know, I felt like that was like such a like I remember crying when Gwen dies because I'm like, yo, that shit's hard, you know. But I'm glad he redeems himself in No Way Home. But like yeah, so like that is kind of like the thing that I mean is like that's a moment where I felt like I did want to see what he becomes after that. But here they kind of say like, yeah, sure, he loses everything. That's it. Like if they stopped it here, he's still your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's going out doing his thing. If they stopped it right there, I would be perfectly fine with it. And that's pretty much what I'm saying.
Except they didn't, because they brought Venom into the universe.
Right, exactly.
Venom.
And we know that there's going to be more story. But what I'm saying is that like if they
Wait, there's gonna be more story?
yeah.
This is a hotel.
It's called the next one is going to be the Spider-Man Morbius.
The Spider-Man Morbius.
Far from Morbius. So
That was good.
so overall, I really like the movie. Obviously, by now, if you haven't been spoiled already, the 3 former Spider-Mans are in the movie. Tommy Maguire, and Andrew Garfield the cat. And I love them both.
That was not good.
Yeah, right. They're both great. It's so good to see them. And by the way, Ned has a Filipino aunt. So, I'm sorry, Filipino grandmother, so I'm like
Grandmother, yeah.
so happy that they showed that off. You know, I felt represented in one time. It was great, and I think everything from that movie was just so good. I think I've watched it maybe 3 or 4 times now. Also, all the villains coming back from the old movies was really good. Seeing like them tie up a lot of those stories too was really cool. Like, you know, Doc Ock finally like getting cured, the Lizard being cured again, and Sandman also being cured again. Electro also. Unfortunate for the Green Goblin because he ends up being again like the main antagonist essentially throughout the film. Which is really unfortunate. Like we all love the Green Goblin, but it also cements the fact that like yeah, it shows that idea that Green Goblin is the villain for Spider-Man. It's like his arch enemy, and the fact that he is essentially the person to ruin Peter's life yet again is like so interesting to me. And there was
I like that.
There was that.
I just wanted to add. I wanted to add on to that real quick. I like that they did that. That Green Goblin becomes the basically the the foil to both Toby and Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
and
pretty much what pushes Tom to start like taking the whole thing, like, I guess seriously, if you will.
yeah.
Because because obviously we had threatening villains for Tom before, but like when you bring in specifically like that version of Green Goblin, like all the stakes are like now suddenly really high because like one of the common criticisms people had with past Spider-Man MCU films was like it didn't really feel like there was a lot of stakes. Like it just felt like it was like, oh yeah, you're villain of the month, here it is,
Yeah.
and everything's
Especially
gonna
with
be
like
sunshine and
Vulture.
rainbows. Yeah, like everything's gonna be sunshine and rainbows by the end of the movie. But with this one, no. Aunt May fucking dies, and it's thanks to
Spoiler.
Green Goblin running her glider into her. So, like, that's a whole thing.
Oh right, it
And
was the
then
glider again.
yeah,
I
and then you had the whole multiverse thing breaking apart towards the end of the movie, which is also indirectly because of Green Goblin
Yeah.
shoving his pumpkin bomb to the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's also like super. That's also super interesting to me, and I'm pretty sure that none of them really understand what that is at all. But like there was that moment at the end where Green Goblin stabs Tobey Maguire, and I was just like, no! Tell you right now, like so many people were concerned for me. They're like, wait, are you okay? I'm like, they
Like
did
in
not.
the theater?
Yeah, they're just like, you did not just do that. Like, because that was me. That was literally what I was saying. It's like, you did not just do that. You did not just kill Tobey Maguire. Because I thought he died, but then at the end, he's like, I've been stabbed before. And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
Tobey
all right.
Maguire is alive and well, bro.
Yeah.
Relax.
That was a good one.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's just like so good. And also like the criticism from the older Spider-Man films is that you put too many cooks in the kitchen and it doesn't work out well. This time they threw like 5 villains at him, but yet it worked so well. It actually surprisingly worked really well compared to like Spider-Man 3 where the problem was like Venom comes in the last like 30 minutes and this and then there's New Goblin, but then there's also Sandman, and it's like who
Yeah,
are you trying to focus on? And then the same thing happens in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. You have Hobgoblin, but you also wait, it's Hobgoblin, right?
It's just Goblin, I think.
Oh, okay. You have the Goblin.
Harry.
Yeah, Harry Goblin. And then you have
I don't think that's his name. Okay.
and then
you have Electro.
I think it actually might be Green Goblin. Never mind.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you have Electro.
The Rhino.
And Rhino, yeah! They fell into the same exact trap that they did in Spider-Man. They're like, alright, we gotta shove as many villains as we can in this. Which, maybe it's a little bit of me thinking that, oh yeah, maybe they kind of knew by this point there probably wasn't gonna be another Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man movie, so they just decided, like, throw everything in the kitchen sink
Even
at
though
it.
there was supposed to be.
There was
because
some,
of the whole Sinister Six stuff.
Yeah, and they set it up with the Sinister Six stuff at the end. Like, you saw the Doc Ock's
the dude walking
arms.
through. Yeah, that scene was like, oh wow, look, Sinister Six weapons, guys.
Yeah.
They're setting it up.
They teased Venom too.
Yeah,
they showed
the
a walker
symbiote.
Venom
thing.
Project.
That was
I
so
remember
cool.
Lars pointed it out in the theater. He's like, yo, Ray, look, Venom Project, when Harry was looking through the flash drive.
Did someone turn around and go, shut the fuck up?
No.
No, he whispered it to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say, I hope you didn't actually get up and go, look!
Ray Venom!
And then someone just throws a soda bottle at him. Sit down.
Jawbreakers Double D.
No, and so, like, it's interesting to me also, like, that happened. I mean, by the end of the No Way Home, they are setting up the, Venom. And, like, even in the PlayStation games, the next Spider-Man game that's coming out, pretty sure the next villain is Venom, so.
Pretty sure? I mean, they showed him.
But yeah. So, like,
Lawrence is about to go to that fucking Lego Lorenzo 97 YouTube channel and finally upload a new video. Is Venom in Spider-Man 2 for PS5? Question mark?
Cool, must see.
Let's analyze the trailer. There he is, guys.
He's gonna start off
Anyway,
the video by
guys.
saying, "Guys, before I get started, I just want you to check out my friend Isaac. He just
Oh
uploaded
my
part
God.
3 Vice City."
Oh yeah,
Isaac, I was about to say the exact same shit.
yeah, that's so funny.
Oh my god.
Oh, we're all starting this new podcast. It's called Team Triforce. Everybody, please go ahead and take a look. Subscribe to the channel so you guys will be notified.
Wait, how would you be talking about the Team Triforce podcast in a video where you're talking about Venom
PS5.
Spider-Man on PS5, bro?
It's like before we get into the evidence, guys. Let's talk about.
Wait,
The evidence being the trailer they uploaded,
Wait, hold
where
on.
you clearly see Venom.
Wait, what if Lawrence is trying to attempt to make it a timepiece video where he's not only speculating that Venom is going to show up in a Spider-Man game, like a sequel game for a game that hasn't come out yet, but for a console that hasn't even been released because PS3 is the current console when that video comes out.
Yeah, you're
Somebody's
right.
gonna throw a soda bottle at him. Shut up, sit down and watch the movie.
But no, so I'm
I'll go
looking
back to
forward.
that video like, holy shit, they really fucking got it. They predicted everything. PS5, Spider-Man 2,
Venom.
everything.
But thinking about it, like I'm looking
Vice City
like
Part 3.
COVID-19.
Spider-Man 2. I feel like even though it hasn't come out yet, is giving me Ultimate Spider-Man vibes, which was my all-time favorite Spider-Man game. Aside from like the Spider-Man games that have come out, the 2 Spider-Man games that came out, Ultimate Spider-Man is by far my favorite Spider-Man game. I think, for just in general.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Eric, you sure about that?
And like even back then, I really wanted like the Venom edition of that game because it was just like
Venom.
it was
Venom.
so interesting to me. It was so cool. But I got the regular version of the game. But again, it was just so good of a game, and it was like the first time that like you had like an open world game essentially, and it was the comic book version, so everything looks super crisp and super fun to play around with. You can play as both Venom and Spider-Man, which was super cool. I think like for like the time period, it was like a great game, and I think even if I were to go back and probably play it now, I would still enjoy it. I had a lot of great memories with that game. It was like one of the first games like I also like completely and 100%ed too. And I know that's a shock to Eric because I don't do that often.
Why are you singling me out?
No, I just had to. I'm sorry. But yeah,
I also don't do that much anymore, so okay.
but I think as it relates to back to No Way Home.
I was gonna say we haven't given our thoughts yet.
Yeah, don't worry. I got you. Don't worry. But like how they refer to the Venom project or something like that is very similar to how they do it in the.
Someone has to
in the
say
game.
that every time someone just mentions Venom.
Venom.
Yeah, but overall, honestly,
Lawrence in high school was like, so what does some rattlesnakes have? Venom.
I really enjoyed the movie. I think it was glorious, really good. I think I was, it reminded me why I really enjoyed the MCU. I think, and it got me excited, honestly, and I think it's a reason why I had to own that movie like on DVD and digital, because I was like, I need to be able to like watch this. It's like a period piece essentially, for me, and I think if you haven't watched it yet, sorry, we've spoiled everything for you. We're not really sorry. You had enough time to watch it. Anyways, I'm gonna neglect. I mean, push
Neglect.
I'm going to let either Ray or Eric, you guys go ahead.
Ray, you go ahead.
Talk.
Yeah, No Way Home, obviously Lawrence talked up a lot about it, but definitely a really good movie, a good conclusion to like the whole trilogy of like Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Even though obviously we didn't get to see it like premiere night or even premiere week. It was actually coming out when I was like out of state during that time, and you guys also had like things going on as well. But obviously we did all eventually see it, and even in spite of the fact that there were some spoilers roaming around thanks to the YouTube algorithm, the movie in and of itself, just getting to finally see it in theaters was a pleasant surprise. Um, Definitely very fun. A lot of cool things in there. Obviously, it's cool that we get to see like all of the like Raimi and Mark Webb characters again. It's cool that we essentially get a sort of conclusion to each of these characters. Me and Lawrence were speculating for like the longest time, like, well, Electro probably isn't really dead because it kind of just seems like because he turned into like pure energy, and it looks like he just like went inside whatever that collar brace was that or whatever that thing was, and that was probably what they were gonna like have for like Sinister Six, like they were gonna bring Electro back and that would be the way they do it. But with this, it's like, yeah, Electro is back and all that. He's like, I have my body back, and then Jamie Foxx is just being Jamie Foxx, just playing his own version of it now compared to like what we had before in Amazing Spider-Man 2. And, there was definitely like a lot of nuances with them too. It was really cool just like seeing them basically modernized. They even explained it in the movie, like, yeah, when they pass through into this universe, there's gonna be like they're gonna look slightly different, just because that's the way that it works when traveling throughout each of these worlds. There isn't any sort of like super scientific explanation for it. That's just the way it is. But it was nice just like seeing all these actors reprising the roles and just like seeing where these characters either are or like just see how cool it is, like just seeing their reactions to being pulled out straight from the middle of their movies, like Doc Ock being pulled from like the final battle in Spider-Man 2. Sandman evidently is like the only character who was pulled out at some point after his movie, because obviously he still remembers Peter and is on good terms with him. And then, obviously we see Tom Holland going through like all those trials and tribulations and just like trying to fix the villains, and obviously doesn't go so well. And you have Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, who's like always amazing as he was in the original, when he reappears in the other two Raimi movies, where he just shows up as like, Harry, here I am again, alive. Don't disappoint your father. Through the mirror, like, because Harry takes like the goblin symbiote and then he starts having like that whole little mini crisis thing that his father went through with the goblin. But yeah, it was cool seeing that, and it was definitely heartbreaking, but also definitely very necessary when Marissa Tomei's death came on. Definitely unexpected, but it was also an interesting twist because it allowed Tom Holland's character to finally just grow up and take on the responsibility mantra that we haven't really like just seen in the MCU yet. And obviously, you have Toby and Andrew come in, and their presence was like very like, obviously we knew they were going to be there, but it was still amazing to just see them come in and just playing their characters again and calling back to like things that happened in their movie. And I think that scene when they're on the Statue of Liberty and they're having their whole little Spider-Man podcast just talking to each other and shit for like 2 minutes. I remember saying that like, yeah, I would like 2 hours of like this whole conversation. Like I honestly wouldn't mind that. And thankfully I was in good company. I saw a lot of people on social media saying the same things, like, "Yeah, I would like an extended version of that scene, please." So that was cool. And there's just a lot of cool things with the final battle and all that. And it was just really cool just seeing them all in there and just seeing like a nice little bow wrapped around the not only just like this trilogy, but giving closure to the other movies too, like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saving MJ from falling off the statue, and seeing how Toby has grown up and pretty much become like the big brother of the three Spider-Men. Like all of it was heartwarming. Obviously, the movie on itself ends on like a pretty sad note. But I still enjoyed myself with the movie. It's still a very enjoyable experience that I implore everyone to check out if you somehow haven't. And yeah, like Lawrence did, I actually bought the movie on YouTube because I wanted to show it to my dad immediately because he doesn't go to the movies anymore. So I just wanted to be like, yeah, you need to see this thing blind, and we're seeing it like as soon as it comes out. And I didn't mind the purchase because this is one of those MCU movies that are just legit good, and I wouldn't mind seeing again and again. But yeah, what do you think, Eric?
It's bullshit. I hate it.
Wow.
Wow,
Nah.
dude.
Well,
Man,
there you have it, folks.
It was a Mary Jane joke.
I just wanted to say that for the people who know me as the guy that doesn't like the MCU, so that they can be like, "Oh, thank you, Eric. Thank you for still representing us," and then they leave the podcast. So, just gonna give like 5 seconds to make sure they're truly gone. All right, yeah, okay. I was waiting so long for Ray to finish just so I could make that dumb joke. But yeah,
I was wondering why you didn't interject with anything.
Yeah, I was just like, he's gonna stop, and then I'm just gonna be like, I hate it. But yeah, I watched it with by myself actually. Yeah, I think, and I surprisingly really liked it. And I say surprisingly because, like I mentioned earlier, I guess at least in this friend group of ours, I've become the person that doesn't care about or is overly cynical of the MCU. And I mean, I guess I kind of still am, but I enjoyed it for a lot of reasons. But I think the main one is that it really fixes a lot of the issues I've had with MCU Spider-Man for so long. The big thing with MCU Spider-Man that I really disliked is that it really felt like that version of Peter Parker, and obviously this is not Tom Holland's fault, this is just the way it was written. Obviously, it really felt like the best way I described it is a trust fund kid, where it's like everything is just sort of given to him. He doesn't struggle that much in the way that that the character of Spider-Man should struggle. Because the big appeal with Spider-Man and Peter Parker and Miles as well, like just Spider-Man in general, is that he really was an everyday guy like us. He was just a regular high school kid that was picked on a lot that just happened to get this power. He's a kid that, grows up, he struggles with rent, he's horny as fuck. He's just like everyone else, and that's really the big appeal, is just how humanizing he is compared to other superheroes like, Tony Stark. He's a big billionaire philanthropist. I don't think, a lot of us are going to be able to relate to him that much. But with Peter, I mean, seeing shit like in the PS4 game, there's that whole mission where he gets kicked out of his apartment and he has to fucking try and find his old clothes. It's like, yeah, that's sadly, in the day and age we live in, that is way more relatable than lots of other superheroes out there. It's why I really dislike when some Spider-Man stories, and sadly this was done in Amazing Spider-Man, they try and make it more of a chosen one thing. It's like, oh no, Peter was destined to become Spider-Man. I always dislike that because it's like, no, the appeal is that he was just a regular guy and this just happened by accident. It was just complete chance that he got this insanely, powerful ability. And, MCU Spider-Man really didn't have that. He got a lot of it from Iron Man, Tony Stark. Tony Stark was the father figure, essentially, which is really jarring, because, I mean, I know that they don't want to show the whole death scene with Uncle Ben and all that, and it is sort of hinted that he existed in this universe. It's just that I guess he wasn't that important. He just sort of died, and that's it. And it's just, I don't know, it's a little weird, because I get that they don't want to show that whole backstory, but it's also very integral to his character, like Uncle Ben's death. Uncle Ben is like one of the few comic book characters you always kill off, because, that's a big influence on why Spider-Man becomes the great hero we eventually know him as, is his words. So the idea that that's just gone, and that it's replaced with Tony Stark as his father figure is just really, really odd. So in general, I just wasn't a fan of the interpretation being done with the MCU. But with this one, I really like that, like I think Lawrence mentioned, by the end, he loses everything. Like, Aunt May dies. It's essentially recreating the Uncle Ben death scene, but they use Aunt May. And it's effective. It's because at the very least, you could tell they had a really tight, loving bond with each other. So seeing that happen to them, that's rough. I didn't cry or anything, but it did kind of hit me when I saw it happen. I was like, oh shit. They actually killed her off. I was not expecting that at all. And then even further, at the end, obviously he makes that decision for everyone to forget about him, literally everyone, and that includes his best friend and his girlfriend. And I'll be honest, at first I was like, oh, let me guess. He's gonna go to like where they work or whatever, and somehow they're gonna remember him. No, he goes to visit them, and they don't recognize him at all. There's no moment where it's like, I remember now or anything like I really expected.
Yeah.
He's on his own. He's on his own to the point he essentially isn't a high school student anymore. He has to fucking study for his GED because he's not in the education system anymore. He has to go rent an apartment by himself. It's to the point where I'm almost like, damn. I get that I really get that they wanted to like ground him more and get rid of all those like issues that a lot of people like me had with him in the past. But it got to the point where I'm like, damn. I mean, you know, it's all right if like at least one person remembers him. Like,
well,
you go,
well,
yes,
Doctor Strange remembers him.
No,
he remembers Spider-Man. He doesn't remember Peter Parker.
That's true.
He
Yeah,
just
that's the
remember
thing.
that Spider-Man fought with them in the
he
Avengers.
doesn't remember Peter Parker at all. No one does. He is on his own. It is to the point where I'm like, he's only like 17 or something. That's kind of fucked up. That he has to start paying rent and stuff. Like, goddamn.
I think I also appreciate. Sorry to cut you, but like, I think I also really appreciate that in that one scene where he has the opportunity to like explain to them what happened. He makes the conscious decision to not do it because he thinks their lives are better without him, and I think that is so brilliant. I feel like such good writing. I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that they did that. So it's really cool that they fix him in general. But in a lot of other ways, I really appreciate the movie not only going for fan service, 'cause let's be real, there is a lot of fan service in here. We have villains from both the Raimi and Mark Webb movies, and we have Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire reprising their roles. But I like that it's not just the easy type of fan service that I expected going in, because I thought it was going to be like, hey, look at all these old villains and renditions of Spider-Man. Isn't it awesome?
Whoa,
and look,
cool.
I'll be honest, if it was like that, I'd have really not liked the movie that much. Because I mean, I would have gotten into it in the sense that I do have nostalgia for those previous renditions, even the Andrew Garfield one, despite the many issues it had. I would have gotten into it a bit. I'm not going to try and act like I would have been above it if they went that route. But it would have been a little disappointing where it's like, man, that's just kind of lazy at that point if they did that.
Yeah,
but
like they're like like they're not variants. It's the thing. Like they're one to one, the exact same people, same continuity and all that. Like they're continuing those characters.
Like I really was thinking it was just going to be like the kind of fan service you expect from the MCU, where it's just like, oh look, point and clap, and all that. And I mean, yeah, people clapped seeing them, but I like that they actually continued their storylines. It's not that they just brought them back to be like, oh, look, it's these old villains that you recognize. Remember, and that's it. They actually continue their storylines. And for some of them, like Electro, it was honestly really needed, considering
I told
the way,
you I'd be back, Spider-Man!
considering how the web series ended. The Mark Webb series. I realize if I just say his last name, it sounds like I'm saying
the web series. SpiderMan.
Yeah, good joke. God damn, that made me lose my train of thought for a sec. Okay, but
the Mark Webb
series.
Yeah, like they actually continue their storylines in an interesting way. I like the idea of Peter going, "What if we try and help them get better?"
So that they don't have to die when they go back.
Yeah, so that they don't have to die, and I like that especially because that actually fits really well with Peter's character. Like that's perfect for the kind of person that Peter Parker is. So I really dig that they went with that approach, and it's especially good because. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. Just to quickly add on to that as well. It's also helped by the fact that like Aunt May is also very supportive of that idea because like there's never a moment like up until like her death she's never once like no Peter like we have to like send these guys back, like she's 100% on board with him because like that's who he is, like
Yeah,
it's the
it
right
really
thing to
fits, and I like the way he handled it, but I also like that. I feel like the fan service was very balanced because I think the best example is the two previous Spider-Man. Spoiler alert, yeah, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire do come back for this movie. And, they could have gone the cheap route and just have them be in the movie for, like, the whole time and all that. And I'll be honest, as much as I love them, and I probably would have been into it, like I said, I would have been like, at the end of the day, this is still Tom Holland's movie, so it kind of, like, loses focus if they just have these guys there the whole time. But I think they got a perfect amount of screen time. They're essentially there for the entire last act of the movie, and that's exactly like what I would want out of fan service like this. Because if they were in there for the whole time, it would have been a bit too much and really taken away from the point of the movie, which is furthering Tom Holland Spider-Man's arc. But if they were in there for like 20 minutes, I would have been like, all right, well, wow, that's lame. They're in there for the amount of time that you could miss it if you went to the bathroom. If you know.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they're in there.
Big fear.
Yeah, it's cool that they're in there for like the perfect amount of time. The villains are in there for a lot of the movie, but to be fair, like I said, they do new stuff with them. It's not like that, oh, they're here now. And with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, they only show up in the final act, and that's all they're in, is the final act. And that's great because as much as I loved seeing those two, in fact, I will go out saying outside of Alfred Mullaney, I think is his name, the guy who plays Otto Octavius. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin. I think the standout, honestly, is Andrew Garfield as his rendition of Peter. I'd say he was the best.
Yeah.
In this, and that says a lot because I'm a big Tobey Raimi fanboy for that original Spider-Man trilogy because that's the one I grew up with. But I thought he was better than Tobey, honestly. Like, no disrespect, obviously. I just really liked what they did with him. Everyone points out this scene, but that scene where Andrew Garfield saves married MJ, Holland Spider-Man's girlfriend, in a similar way to how he tried to save Gwen Stacy, and then he starts breaking down. That was like the best scene in the movie. It's something that really helps, like, just put a nice bookend on that rendition of Spider-Man. It was flawed as fuck, but Andrew Garfield was definitely not the problem with it, and that scene shows it. He was like one of the best actors in the movie overall, I would say. But yeah, as much as I love them in the movie, at the end of the day, I like that it's still Tom Holland's movie. It is still mostly about him and furthering his character arc. So, surprisingly, and I really didn't think this would happen. I was going in ready to like criticize the fuck out of it in a way, and not even because I'm that like down on the MCU these days. It's just honestly, I was kind of worried going in because I know a lot of people were getting so excited for like Alfred Mullaney coming back, but a part of me was like, man, I don't know. I like the way his character arc ended in Spider-Man 2. Like that was the perfect way to end that character at the end of that movie,
right.
And him sacrificing himself at the end. So it would feel kind of cheap to bring him back. So, and I guess because the MCU hasn't proven to me that as much that they could do something cool bringing a character back, I thought it was going to be just a cheap sort of nostalgia trip where it's like, hey, he's back, and that's it. He's just here, and now Tom Holland's going to fight him. Wasn't it cool seeing him again? I really thought it was going to be that. So I was pleasantly surprised that they took a lot of effort to not just have it be a nostalgia pandering, 2.5 hours or however long that movie is.
Right. there's definitely like a really good balance of like focusing on telling the actual story and wrapping up Tom Holland's story, and providing like as much like fan service as they can without overdoing it.
Yeah,
And it's
they
really
still
cool
make sure
that,
to
like,
keep the focus on Tom Holland.
right. And then when it comes to like the older characters, they don't disrespect the legacy of those characters or the movie they come from. Like they
Yeah,
just like
I'm especially glad that they handled the like Amazing Spider-Man stuff as well as they did, because people don't like those as much. But I'm glad they didn't like sugarcoat or like half-ass those villains and those characters.
right.
They
It
like you were saying. Sorry to interrupt, but
not as cool.
like you were saying, they treat it with respect across the board. Because that was another thing I was kind of expecting. I thought they would really like give way too much favoritism to the Raimi stuff, like Toby and the Raimi villains. I mean, I love them, but surprisingly, like at least in terms of like Toby and Andrew, like the Peter Parkers of those universes, Andrew had more screen time when you think about it. It was
Yeah.
so it's kind of funny to think about, and obviously, the Raimi villains were done great too, but I think the Amazing Spider-Man villain, specifically Electro, he benefited the most, like I said earlier, from this new story to really sort of bookend his arc from
Yeah.
those movies. So I'm really happy for that, because I thought they were gonna be like, no one likes Amazing Spider-Man that much. Let's just have them there, I guess.
Yeah.
Raimi though, he's the one people like get
He's the
nostalgic
one.
for. So
It's funny too because like when damn, I'm trying to think about my point, sorry.
My next point.
1957.
It was the Berlin
1957.
Wall crisis.
The Cuban
I'm gonna
Missile
say
Crisis.
that Eric, you pretty spot on with everything you were saying, though. That I felt like pretty much the same thing you said. I kind of came in thinking that they were gonna focus all on Doc Ock and Green Goblin and Toby, and not really, and all the Amazing Spider-Man stuff would be like in the background. I didn't expect them to do what they did with Andrew Garfield, him saving MJ.
Yeah.
I
It was a
remember my-
great little bit of fan service.
Yeah, I remember my point now. When it comes to like Electro specifically, he's not only the same character, but he is also an entirely like new character. But like it still
he has a new
feels like
suit
the
and
same
everything.
Electro. New suit,
That new suit is way
appearance and all
better.
that.
Yeah, I like
I
that
got-
one compared to the blue energy mess.
Yeah.
And
that was so.
you know what else he's got?
I got my
Tim's.
body back.
That
Did
is
he really
true.
have Tim's?
He was wearing
Yeah, he had
Tim's.
Tim's.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I
the
must have
dead
forgotten
asses.
that.
he was in the
Yeah,
it's the only
The
reason
construction
that he's
site.
wearing.
That's
Yeah,
where you
because
see
he
him
was
with
at
the
the
Tim's.
Yeah, he was at the power grid.
Okay. I remember that part.
He
Yeah,
put
I
on
just
the
forgot the
clothes.
Tim's, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
I just
so
thought you.
so
I
the
just thought you were
almost
gonna
the
be black.
entire time he's pretty much wearing the Tim's until he even I think when he has the new suit, like it's still Tim's. But before, sorry, just to say, by the way, the funniest joke in the movie, one of the funniest jokes in the movie is when Jamie Foxx says, "I just thought you were gonna be black." Anyways, Ray, go ahead.
No, I mean that's the point. Like that, I wanted to make. Like they, in a respectful way, they reinvent these characters while also just keeping them the same. Like Eric said earlier, Doc Ock doesn't feel like his story was disrespected. Like, obviously it's supposed to be the same character, but this is a version of him from earlier before he had that whole character arc. So it doesn't disrespect the original one because that original version already still like had his story ended. Because
So it's not the
obviously-
same Doc Ock as at the end of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, like well, the thing is that it is him, but it's
Taken
also
before he
a
died,
new him
essentially.
because
Like, if
yeah.
that makes
So
sense.
it's a new take on him, right?
Yeah,
with the
essentially.
exception of Sandman, the other four Spider-Man villains are taken from points before they were
Before they
defeated.
died, yeah.
Oh,
right, okay,
Sandman
yeah.
was
Right
the
before their
only one
deaths.
that explicitly was after, which makes sense because he sort
Yeah,
of
'cause he was
leaves
still
at the end
alive.
of Spider-Man 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still alive and he still respects Peter because, like, they had the whole forgiveness thing. At the end of
Forgiveness
the movie.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
It
it's
was-
funny because he even like when Sandman shows up, he even says, "Peter, it's your friend Flint Marco," and he's trying
Remember?
he's trying to protect him, and I'm like, "Oh right, they
to
were
kindergarten,
friends." It was great to know like they were actually friends, and Spider-Man's like, "I don't know who you are."
kindergarten.
yeah.
You share chocolate milk with me at lunch.
Honestly, it was honestly also just a
The
really
hot
cool.
teacher.
It was a really cool experience in general, just seeing like because you know, I went to go see a lot of these movies in theaters growing up, both the Raimi and Mark Webb films. So it's just really cool just seeing all of them in a movie together. Like it basically felt like saying, "Oh shit, Spider-Man 4 is finally here," or "Amazing Spider-Man 3 is
Man
finally
3, yeah,
happening."
that's funny.
Yeah.
It was great. Now I'm just imagining fucking Flint Marko and Peter Parker in elementary school.
Yo, you
You want-
remember, dude? We were 5.
You want cookies? No, I want some ass right now. But
Bruh.
What the hell?
Oh my god.
Nice.
but yeah, I surprisingly, and I say surprisingly because Lawrence especially is like, Eric, you're the one who doesn't like the MCU. What did you think whenever I watch one with him?
I'm sorry. It's not that. It's just that like you definitely like after
Or I guess to be clear, it's
after
not that.
Endgame, you
it's
did
not
say
that-
well after Spider-Man is the Spider-Man 2. You did say
Yeah,
like
2004?
what's it called?
Far From Home.
Far from
Far
home.
from home.
Yeah, after that you were like, I think I'm just done with the MCU. I think like unless you guys drag
I was
me
done
to
with
it, I'm-
Endgame,
yeah.
but
That-
I
that's
was
the
like,
thing.
it's Spider-Man, so I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, and so I
That was
was
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
you
that's
did
the
check
thing,
out
like,
from
Eric-
the MCU. Like you did
Eric
make it clear.
Eric doesn't necessarily hate like the MCU as a concept. It's just that he's done with it. Like he doesn't like care for everything after Endgame because Endgame was the end of the original like saga
Yeah,
of
like,
movies.
I don't want to get into it because I could go on for a while, but I don't know. Like, the MCU is cool. Was cool at first to me, and I don't even regret the points of time when I was super into it. I had fun, back then. I don't look back at myself and cringe or whatever. It's like, no, I was young. So yeah, even though now I'm not into it anymore, and in fact, a lot of my opinions for all the movies have probably lessened over the time, and I could probably count on one hand the amount of ones where I'm like, yeah, this is a legit good movie. I would go as far as recommending it to
Including
people.
Fantastic Four. Go ahead.
That's not even
Yeah,
out,
I'm
but
kidding.
okay. But yeah, like MCU was very much once Endgame was over, I was like, I'm done. I don't really feel like getting into like the other stuff. Like whatever looks interesting, I might check out, but that's about it. And I've kept to that. The only reason I even watched WandaVision is because, admittedly, I'm not even ashamed to say this, FOMO hit me a bit. I was like, oh man, it sounds really cool. And then I watched it, and I liked half of it, I guess. So, I mean, I got more out of it than I thought. But I was very much I'm just not into it anymore. I don't keep up with it. I essentially watch whatever these guys drag me to, and that's about it. And like I said, some of them I am excited for in the sense that it looks kind of interesting, so I'll watch it. Like Thor 4 looks kind of interesting.
Even if you didn't
so, yeah,
like it,
sure,
we're gonna
I'll
drag
watch
him
it.
to it. So
Yeah, all right. bitch,
no,
but,
but no, I wanted to say,
should,
Eric. Actually, you should watch Moon Knight.
I was
No.
gonna say the same. I was gonna say
Wow.
the same thing actually. Like you should definitely check out Moon Knight because there is like zero like references to like the bigger MCU in that show. Like
I will
it's
give
just
you this.
self-contained.
Apparently, even the director is like, we just wanted to make a TV show, bro. Like, we didn't want to make it that referential, and I respect that. But I'm sorry, I cannot guarantee you that I will watch it.
But
Maybe I'll have it in mind, but I cannot.
the only
guarantee
reason we bring
anything.
it up is because it's
I'll
like,
recommend
it doesn't
but
it
if you
doesn't
choose
follow
not to watch it, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't follow a lot of the superhero like samey formulas. In my
Yeah, they don't
opinion.
even name drop the
Um,
Avengers once in it. Like they
it's-
don't talk about all that.
It's
Good.
Or Thanos.
it's a lot darker than a lot of the other TV shows.
I was also.
A lot of
Okay.
the other movies, and it is also it is a mental health like it's a show that talks a lot about mental health at the same time too, because he has DID, which is the reason why he has multiple personalities, which ties into his superpowers at the same time. So it's like it's actually kind of decent, like honestly.
If you don't know anything about Moon Knight in general,
I don't.
definitely check
I'll
it
be
out.
honest.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool
and
because you're gonna
they-
be surprised by the twist.
they play a lot on like Egyptian mythology, so if you liked mythology, then you're gonna I think you're really gonna enjoy it. I know you liked Greek and Roman mythology, so maybe Egyptian mythology might be somewhere up there. It's just a
I love when I would try
recommendation.
to talk. I love when I tried to talk to you about Greek mythology, and you're like, Eric, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's like, all right, I guess I'll stop. But
Greek mythology? You mean with Thor?
I mean, Not wrong.
man, but
No, but
no,
yeah,
that's
seriously.
Nordic. That's Nordic. It's not.
That's the joke.
No, but
No,
honestly,
because Lawrence was like, "No, you're not wrong."
no,
It's like,
that's
no,
the
he's
joke.
wrong.
That's the joke. No, so like
Um,
honestly, Eric, I think I highly recommend it. Highly
All
recommend.
right, look, I want to be clear here. If y'all enjoy it and love it and continue to love everything that comes out, more power to you. I am not gonna sit here and be like, you should hate it with me or whatever. Like, no, I'm not gonna be an asshole. If you still are like anyone even listening, if you're still super into the MCU, then hey, man, more power to you. Like, keep enjoying it. Honestly, I just got over it. I got tired of it. I don't know. I grew up, I guess. And don't take that in the wrong way. It's just, interests change over time. Back then, like 10 years ago, I was super into this shit. Now, not so much.
In
So
all
it
fairness
is
to
what it
Eric,
is.
it also kind of feels like a chore now to just keep up with.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing because now they're releasing TV shows that are critical to like the movies, and I'm just like, bro, I don't want to do homework to watch a fucking movie. So
And if you're in that camp that has never watched the previous Spider-Man films, now you have to in order to understand everything going on in No Way Home. At
well, in all
least,
fairness,
if
with
anything,
movies,
you can have a better understanding of it.
with movies, I'm more okay with it because it's like, hey, you should watch the first two Lord of the Rings before the third. Oh, gee, really? Yeah, obviously. But if you're gonna be like, you need to watch this and read this comic and do this before you watch this, I'm gonna be like, I'm just gonna
And
watch
you need
something
to
else
do,
instead. Then
you
Like,
got to do the hokey pokey.
yeah, it's just like I just got tired of it. And I didn't want to follow with all these billions of TV shows. Like I said, I only liked half of WandaVision anyway.
You
So
gotta
it's
play the
just
Kingdom Hearts world.
yeah, exactly. It's especially tiring because I don't know. To me, I'm just like an ending is a good thing, and I really kind of hope they have an actual ending to this. Like I thought
Oh
Endgame
man,
was
they
gonna
have
be the
they have
ending.
the next 10 years of the MCU
That's what I'm
planned
saying.
out.
Like
There's no end in sight.
that's why I'm just tired. Like some people see that and they get excited. More power to them. I see that and I just sigh. Like really, 10 more years of this. It's
Martin Scorsese was
it's
right.
no, he is. It's oversaturated. It's super oversaturated because there's like a billion superhero movies coming out, and like
Now
I'm
you got
sorry,
Warner
but
Bros.
like
playing catch up, and then you
I
got
know Martin
the Dark
Scorsese maybe could have
Universe.
worded things better, but he has a point. The way it dominates film is kind of scary because I mean I remember even seeing an interview with Quentin Tarantino. He was getting really emotional because he was trying to release The Hateful Eight in theaters. And he booked like this really cool theater because he filmed that in 7mm. And he was really upset because Disney just was like, no, you can't show it at this cool theater because we're showing Star Wars. I know it's a different universe, but it's the same sort of deal where it's like the amount of like power these series from Disney have is a little scary to me, and I just it does feel like it's harming the industry in a way to me, and I wish people could recognize that. I'm not saying you can't enjoy it, but just recognize that that is a thing that is happening.
I think
I
people are
just
starting to notice that. They're starting to notice that Marvel, that not Marvel specifically, but that MCU movies is starting to affect the movie industry, and not in completely a good way. Because 10 years ago, when those movies started coming out, people were buying more ticket sales and going to the movies. Because I remember right before Disney bought Marvel, I think movies were at that time, like movies were losing money. Actually, like, theaters and movies are losing money to Netflix and the streaming apps because a lot more people were just streaming stuff at home than they were going to the movies. But now, since MCU is such a valuable brand, everyone wants to go and have like a movie experience to go see the latest Marvel movie, or Star Wars, or whatever other property that Disney owns.
other Disney properties are the same deal. I mean, to give another very recent good example, there was one theater that had like 70 screenings for Doctor Strange, the newest one. And I'm just like, that's too much. Like, I'm sorry, but no. There are other movies out. They should be able to show those films too. That's absurd. That's ridiculous. It's something that I wish people took more seriously, because whenever people like Martin Scorsese criticize the industry, the Disney and Marvel for that stuff, people immediately get defensive because it's like, how dare you criticize my nerdy hobby? And it's like, it's not even criticism of the movie themselves. He's old. He probably doesn't care about the movies. He just cares about the effect it's having in the industry that he's worked in for so long. So I really just wish more people thought about that. Is all. I'm not saying you can't enjoy it. Just be mindful of the negative effects it is having on film in general. But
E.g.,
No,
there's
I
more
can't
than
wait
Fox
until
than
Thor
people
16
only-
comes out.
what was that?
I was saying, like, e.g., people like focusing in on the fact that like
Oh.
now they have the Fox characters
Yeah.
when they did the Fox merger and all that, but they
Yeah.
don't consider the fact that now they own everything Fox, period, which is a
Yeah,
shit ton
which
of
is
things.
They own the Simpsons, bro.
Yeah,
fucking
it's
Simpsons.
crazy. It's like, bro, I'm sorry, but I'm more concerned with them
Movie
owning all of
franchises?
Fox than Wolverine showing up in the MCU. I mean, for
You
starters,
took my only food.
beating Hugh Jackman is going to be very hard. I'm very curious to see how they top him. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I don't want to get too into it anymore, but that's just how I am with the MCU. It's very much something I'm not into anymore. If you are, more power to you. But these days, not into it overall. But Spider-Man was an exception. No Way Home. I liked it. It was fun. Part of that is because I'm a Spider-Man fan and I love the Raimi movies and even the Amazing Spider-Man movies to an extent. So there's some nostalgia bias there, but yeah, I actually liked it.
And it was definitely like not just even it was more than just an MCU movie. It was just a celebration of like Spider-Man in film, period. Because
Yeah.
it's also like the 19th/20th anniversary film.
True. That's definitely true. And like I could, if I really wanted to analyze it more, I could come up with criticisms. Like, I mean, I'll just be frank. MCU action scenes 99% of the time are fucking trash. And it's kind of the same here. Like, as much as I love No Way Home, I don't remember any of the fight scenes. I really don't. It's just
Alexa, play the Avengers theme music.
Music's honestly another thing. The scores with these movies are so forgettable for the most part. I feel like the most memorable thing is the Avengers theme, but it's because they play it a billion times, so you're never gonna forget it. So it's not perfect, but as a Spider-Man fan, as someone who is just not into the MCU anymore, I surprisingly had a good time with it.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah,
What's silence there?
I'm wondering what the silence.
Mic
is
drop.
too. Mic drop.
No, that was a mic drop. Eric
Yeah,
killed it. The whole audience is just they're
stunned.
waiting to
They're
trying to press X to revive.
Yeah, man.
But if you
MCU talk, it just always comes to this, I guess.
It always comes to that.
if everyone gave their take on
If
Spider-Man,
not, an hour-long Iron Fist rant.
God.
if everyone gave their take on Spider-Man, I'd like to give mine real quick.
Definitely.
But
Go for it. Yeah.
You guys basically said everything. I don't have. I feel like after Eric, I don't have anything to. I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna add more than what you said. You basically summed it up really well. Also, Lawrence and Ray, but yeah, I mean, I liked the movie. It was good. I was excited for it. I think obviously everybody was excited to see all three Spider-Man, and all of those come back. That was just the coolest thing about it. And I think it was cool to see. Like the hype was there for months, for ever since they announced the rumors, and then they announced it. There was hype all about it, and then there was also a lot of fake rumors and fake. I think for out of all the movies I've gone to the theaters and seen, I think this movie, Spider-Man: No Way Home, is the number one movie for me that had the most rumors and leaks that I've ever heard or seen.
Oh yeah,
like period, for any movie I've ever looked up or watched. And I'm not gonna lie, I did actually check out some YouTube videos that discussed some of the rumors, because after a while you see it on YouTube, you click on it, and we live in 2022 where if you see something with a clickbaity enough title, you're gonna click on it. So I saw some crazy theory videos that were saying stuff like there's one YouTuber specifically that I like, but some of the videos he made were about rumors that are crazy, like Andrew Garfield is actually
Venom.
It's actually like a symbiote god, Venom. Yeah, Venom. Something like that. There was a video that I think that was what they were talking about. I forgot what the rumor was, but yeah, there were like every day there were like 200 rumors coming out about Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I really wonder how these companies like Disney and Marvel, or the movie industry period, can keep things private or in wraps anymore, because it feels like every day if you're a movie company and you drop a trailer, every day there's some new rumor that comes out or some leak. So it's really hard to deny it. And I also liked how closer to the movie's release, when Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland or Toby would do interviews, they would all deny that Toby and Andrew would deny that they were in the movie. Anyone who was like rumored to be in the movie, they would just deny it.
Like
Andrew
the worst
said,
kept
"No,
secret ever.
I'm not in the movie." Or
yeah,
Toby
it
would
was
be like,
Hollywood's worst kept secret for all that time.
for
Andrew
like
calls
6
his
months.
agent, bro, am I in that movie? You sure?
Yo, the Andrew Garfield one was my favorite because he was really trying. Like, you guys are gonna be sorely
He
disappointed
was on Jimmy
to
Kimmel,
learn
and
that
Jimmy
I'm not
Kimmel
in that
was like,
movie.
he
Like,
was
I don't
on
know
Jimmy
if I'm in
Kimmel.
that movie.
Jimmy kept trying to get him to accidentally say he was in the movie, because he was just like, "So what you're saying is that
Definitely in it.
there's no way that you're not in this movie." And he's like, "Well, I see what you're doing. No, you can't get me to answer that."
So the funny thing is that Tom Holland, the guy known for like spoiling a shit ton of MCU stuff,
Oh yeah, that was a meme for a while.
he surprisingly kept his mouth shut for this movie
For 6 months,
for
somehow.
for 6 months. For at least for the most part. Apparently there was an interview that came out where he accidentally said something, but nobody noticed it until after the fact. So he's still pretty much clean for all of this.
Disney threatened him. It's like, if you fucking leak something, 3 zeros are going off that check.
3 zeros.
We're gonna hire a hitman.
Jesus.
There was
We're
an
gonna
interview
take your
with
mouth
Zendaya,
shut
too.
if you say something.
One mouth.
We're gonna kidnap you. I like the one interview I liked a lot was this interview that Zendaya did with Jimmy Kimmel, where Jimmy Kimmel was asking her like, "So how was your weekend? How was your Thanksgiving?" And she was like, "It was good. I spent it with the cast and crew of No Way Home." And he was like, "Yeah, what did you have on set?" And she said, "Yeah, we had turkey." And then he said, "Did Tobey Maguire have a tofurkey because he's vegan?" And she said, "Yeah." No, I see what you did there. You can't get me to reveal that. Because Tobey Maguire is vegan. So he was like, "Oh, so Toby had a tofurkey."
I love that Tobey Maguire. I respect him a lot for not really wanting to be in the limelight anymore. You know, just wanting to live a regular life. But I love that he's just able to tell when someone is filming him, to the point where
that
he could
meme
be
where
at
he stares at the person whoever's recording him.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
at a
I saw that.
concert.
I saw that he was at the Billie Eilish concert, and
Yeah.
and he literally just looked at the person who was recording
Yeah.
him. I was
almost
like,
immediately he
He
realized
gave him a dead
it.
stare, bro. He was pissed off.
He has the spider sense in real life.
Good to know that he's a
Yeah.
Billie Eilish fan, though.
Yeah.
He's,
I would not
saw
be able
another
to tell
one.
otherwise.
I saw another clip of him at an airport, and this dude kept filming him while he was on the line, and he kept turning around like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I feel bad for him, honestly, because
Yeah, he just wants to chill.
He just wants to live his life at this point. So just let him, but people won't let him.
Yo, Peter!
Get out of the
Yo, do
fucking
the
way!
web swing.
At some point, man, he's
Give
gonna
me a
turn
run.
into Bully Maguire.
He will
Maguire.
become Bully Maguire for real at this rate.
He comes back.
Oh man, I will say one of the I guess one more thing to add, because I know Lawrence mentioned it's like he loved the ending so much that he really wishes that he'd be totally satisfied if it ended, but I disagree with that, because I'm like, I like the way they fixed up his character so much that I'm actually kind of intrigued to see it continue. I want to see them tackle something like the symbiote now. They tease it, after all. It'd be kind of a shame to end it there after they teased it with Tom Hardy, you know, leaving a bit of it right before he gets sucked back into the Sonyverse. So
Right.
I'm all for more sequels, honestly. If they keep the character arc consistent and all, I will watch them. As someone who's not into the MCU, I will make sure to watch future Spider-Man movies if they keep up the good work in that department.
I hope so. I mean, me too, man. I feel like just, I guess, moving into future predictions and I was talking about rumors, but I haven't been following the rumors afterwards, since all the rumors about what's going to come next after No Way Home. But I mean, Venom symbiote is definitely there. I mean, like Lawrence said, I guess Venom is gonna be in the next No Way Home movie and Spider-Man game. And then Eric was like, "Yeah, I guess they fucking teased him in the trailer."
No, so
Uh,
I think he was mostly referring to the Spider-Man game, but that was
I
funny
know
to
he
me because
was.
it's like,
Yeah,
bruh, they show him.
they show
What-
him. Yeah, but
Amen.
yeah, I mean, things I think are gonna happen in the next movie. I feel like they're setting up. They're definitely setting up something like a either Venom or I saw a
Venom.
rumor that said Craven might be in the next three movies. One of them,
Who?
Craven the Hunter.
Oh,
Raven.
You know, the funny thing is, you say that was the
Like Wes
original plan,
Craven.
and
He was
yeah,
supposed to be in Spider-Man
it's
4.
morbing time.
well, no. The thing is that was the original plan for No Way Home, in case the plan for like bringing everybody back didn't like follow through. Like,
Oh,
in
the
case
original
Oh,
plan
yeah.
was Craven?
was a
Yeah,
Craven the
it
Hunter
was
movie.
Craven the
Yeah,
Hunter, I remember
Oh,
this.
okay. I thought
Oh.
Sonyverse was gonna try and do a Craven movie, but
They
maybe
are
I'm
still doing a
misremembering.
Craven
they are still trying. Yeah,
Oh,
Was
okay.
it
They
Jason
wanted to-
Momoa or Henry Cavill?
because they're
I don't know.
trying really hard to like build that Sony verse
Oh, my bad. Aaron Taylor
They're-
and
Johnson.
tie
they're
it to the
doing
MCU.
They're doing their damnedest, but yeah, Ray. I was saying that in the now canceled Spider-Man 4 movie that we know was confirmed on Sony's Twitter.
From 2011.
That infamous tweet.
That
Spider-Man
is still
Spider-Man
up, by the
release.
way.
It's coming in
It's
2011.
still up there. They never deleted it. Like we said what we said. Yeah, they were. The plans were they were going to put Craven in Spider-Man 4, and I
like
think
to
also
morbid,
Vulture. But
morbid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Vulture being in talks for Spider-Man 4, and I
morbid
think
time.
yeah,
Black Cat was
Black
also
Cat, yeah.
considered.
Puppies.
but
I
in the
like-
next things, these are my assumptions or future predictions,
My name is
not based on any rumors. But I have a strong feeling that
And I'm Morbius.
they're setting up.
All right,
They're
Lauren.
setting up Kingpin to be in one of the three next Spider-Man movies because I know Eric, you have been watching the
Bro, you can
Disney
spoil it. It's
Plus.
fine. It's fine.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, it's not a spoiler, but I know you haven't been watching the MCU shows, but they brought back Kingpin and Hawkeye, and
Yeah.
that
I
was
heard
like
that, yeah.
it was pretty well. It was pretty known even before Hawkeye was dropped on Disney Plus that Kingpin was coming back. So I feel like they're gonna bring him back into the Spider-Man
100%
shows.
they
'Cause-
will. But I think that, obviously, Vincent D'Onofrio's it is the Kingpin. Like, I can't imagine anybody
Even
else.
Kevin Feige agrees.
I can't
They did bring
imagine
him back.
anyone else playing Kingpin. It's just like Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. I can't imagine anyone
They
else
also brought
playing
back
him.
Charlie Cox. He did have a cameo in
Yeah,
No Way Home.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Daredevil.
that was really exciting.
Oh yeah, Daredevil was in. That's how I know he's gonna be in. I forgot. Like that was the other thing I wanted to mention. That Daredevil was back. Daredevil was in Spider-Man No Way
And
Home.
it
So that means
was-
Kingpin has to show up.
And it's funny because, like, even Kevin Feige came out and said, or Fiji, whatever you want to call him, said, guys,
Bye, guy.
Kevin Fiji Water.
Matt Murdock is going to, like, if we had to choose somebody to play Matt Murdock or Daredevil, it has to be Charlie Cox. Like, I love that he respects it that much. Like, even though obviously big Hollywood producer is still kind of a jackass. Like, he still kind of like
Jesus.
comes out and says like, yeah, well, we have to sometimes listen to the fans. The fans want a season 4. Maybe we might not be able to do season 4, but if we were to bring Daredevil back, which we probably will, it will be played by Charlie Cox. And I was like, thank you. Like that is actually great. And I'm glad that same thing with No Way Home. Everybody said they wanted Toby and Andrew back in like some sort of like reference at least to them. And they were just like, okay, you got it. Like it's just great to see that still they're like, even though as problematic as the MCU can be, sometimes like they do listen to fans sometimes for the most part. Generally. Sometimes. Maybe.
Yeah, that's right. So, keep up buying those theaters, Kevin Feige, as long as you keep giving us that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yo,
Kidding.
no, I'm serious. Like, the shitty part about that is that every time we go to the AMC Empire 25, and there's like a hot Marvel movie out, like 90% of the theaters are playing the same Marvel movie. It is really disappointing.
if you don't like the MCU, I feel bad for you. I'm someone who doesn't like it that much, but still occasionally watches some of it. But if you're like not interested at all, it must suck being a film guy because and that likes to go to the theater. I should, specify because that's what's playing in most theaters these days. It's just fucking Marvel movies.
The same thing
I
goes
hate
with
the MCU.
the same thing goes with like and this is the contrast is like we were trying to find a place to go see Batman, and not nearly as many theaters were available for us to go see Batman because like yeah sure it did great, it was a great movie, but they didn't they didn't have 90% of the theaters playing Batman the weekend that it came out. It was maybe like 50% or less. And that played a part in us almost not at all getting a chance to see the movie. So it was like that's very interesting. I don't know. Like that's something to also think about too.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe they wanted to keep Eternals in the theater. That shitty fucking movie.
We live in a society where
Look,
most of the movie theaters play Marvel movies.
You want cynical Eric that doesn't like MCU? Just have him talk about Eternals because that one was so boring and so
That was
bad
trash, bro. Eternals
that
is bad.
I keep mentioning this to Ray and Lawrence, but the alien bad guy, they never name him in the movie.
Oh right,
So
what
when
was
I
his
try,
name?
You find out through a Funko Pop figure.
well, fucking Funko Pop is when you find out his name. So when I tried to talk about him, I'm like, what the fuck was he called? Oh wait, they
Talking
never
about
gave him a
Deviant?
name.
Yeah, the Deviant, right?
The
Yeah,
one that was played by the guy who
Bill
did
Skarsgård.
yeah, Bill Skarsgård, like
The
the
big
alien.
Okay,
giant Galactus.
Oh, who did Pennywise the Clown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't give him a name. He was just
No,
the
he
Deviant,
has a name.
at least in the-
He has a
No,
name.
no, I know. I'm saying that they didn't give him a name in the movie.
In the
He's just-
movie, yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
look up his name again. I can't remember what his name was.
Like,
we can't even
that-
remember it now.
The funny thing is, I remember Lawrence wasn't that into it, and he was like, they should have done this to make me more interested. And I was like, you know what?
Bro, the only part that I
fucking
like,
Bruh.
But, go ahead.
Crow. There we go.
saying-
Crow.
the only-
My bad. Go ahead.
bro.
that's just
the only part I liked about Eternals was that one, I could take a nap. And two, I mean that movie was long. I fell asleep. Two,
Yeah, it
long.
was long.
it was only it was actually shorter than No Way Home. It was only an hour and a half,
It
but it
felt
felt
longer.
it felt so long because there was so much there was so much being talked through, like so much exposition. I'm
Yeah.
like, damn. Can we
The
just
only
get to the
thing
end of the
I-
movie? You said the movie's called Eternals, not Eternal Movie.
Some of the I will say
The
some
title
of
was on the nose.
Some of the actors, I feel like the best part of that movie is some of the acting is like kind of decent, honestly, and I think that's actually probably my best part. Is like, yeah,
The best thing I can say about it is that one of the actors looks just like a guy I know who lives in the UK, like literally just like him, to the point where I was like, this fucker like end up acting in an MCU movie and he just never told anyone. 'Cause, wow, he looks just like him. But that was like the only thing in my mind. It's like, wow, he looks just like that guy. And I don't want to name him because he's in a different server, a different circle of like friends and stuff. But yeah, that was the only thing on my mind watching. It was like, that is uncanny how similar they look. But yeah, Eternals not good. No Way Home was good though, and I like that Charlie Cox cameo. I actually like Daredevil because
Me too, man.
Daredevil was cool in the sense that it did something that most of the MCU doesn't do, and it has good fight
good fight scenes, yeah.
choreography and
Really
stuff.
good fight choreography, the best out of all
Yeah.
the series.
Like,
Like that
all
one
those-
long cutscene in episode 3 or 4 was amazing.
Each season had one of those, which was great. The prison one in season 3 was my favorite. Like
Oh,
that
absolutely.
show had great like action scenes, and I was like, man, I wish the rest of the MCU had action as good as this.
Man, how you have a better fight scene in the whole Avengers franchise?
Yeah, literally. So that was real cool. And to go back to Moon Knight, I will say this: the only other reason I sort of, maybe, kind of, a little
Watch
bit
it.
looked at it was because Oscar Isaac was in it, and I was like, I like him. He seems like
he
a cool
was,
dude.
and he's great. He's one of the executive
He's
producers.
fantastic in it. Yeah.
Yeah, like
But,
he was one, and also the producer of the entire thing. He's actually Egyptian. He grew up in Egypt.
The composer
yeah,
for
I
the
knew
show
that.
is
Yeah,
also
and
Egyptian,
so
yeah.
he made this. he told the story of like how him and his wife really wanted to do the Moon Knight series when it was announced, because growing up he had Batman and Spider-Man in Egypt. Like, those are the only ones people knew. Those are the only ones people had access to. And so when he grew up and he finally had access to other comic book series and stuff like that, he wanted to do the one that represented him and his culture. And I feel like you don't get that shit with Eternals. Like, no one's gonna be like, I live in an alien race and I wanted to, like, make my people proud, you know? Like, no one's gonna do that. And I thought that was just so...
Unless you take the
Let
2
my
train
people
at 2 in
go.
the morning.
Like,
But
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things that it does right. Like, just as a, like, it doesn't do a lot of the whole superhero-y, like, thing. And maybe, in my opinion, I think the fight scenes are actually pretty decent. Personally, I think that. But
I mean, hey, you know, like I said, if y'all enjoying it, then keep enjoying it. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know.
watch
I'm
it.
not gonna guarantee anything.
go watch
But
it.
I will just what?
Go watch it.
No, to Isaac.
Oh.
Not you.
Go watch it.
I was making a joke. I'll say it at the end after you finish.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, I was just gonna point that out where it's like Moon Knight. You know, I noticed that Oscar Isaac, and I was like, I like him. He's a good actor.
He is a
He
good
seems
actor.
cool. Good looking guy too. You know.
Yeah. He's funny too.
But yeah, the only other thing I'll say is that I guess to give another reason why I'm kind of tired of the MCU is like, look, I'm sorry, but most movies just kind of blend together. There's very rarely a movie that stands out.
I think,
Like stuff like Eternals and
Yeah.
Captain Marvel and Thor 2 and Thor 1 and Incredible Hulk, they all just sort of blend together, man. Like, they're so similar. They're so manufactured that I don't know, just not interested. Especially because, like I said, there's a million of them every fucking year. What?
I was gonna say, I will agree with you in many cases in that the sorry, I got distracted by something on my Twitter timeline. I was now I'm really distracted.
right.
Captain
I think what
America,
I think it is-
I'll go ahead and say
no.
it here.
Falcon
I
and
was gonna say-
Falcon and Winter Soldier,
No,
I
no,
think, is the most unforgettable Marvel.
You mean unforgettable or forgettable?
Sorry,
Forgettable.
forgettable.
Unforgettable.
I did not like. In
Unforgettable,
comparison
Eric.
to everything else that I've watched from the TV series and stuff like that, like, it's not. It feels very samey, like you were saying. So I will admit that. Like, at first I was like, oh, that's kind of decent, that's kind of cool. But then, like, I fell into the whole, like, after that I kind of, like, reflected on it, and I was like, it had a lot of, like, we're superheroes kind of, like, thing, you know? Like, it was just, like, I think the only redeeming quality about that show is that,
We're Marvel heroes.
Sam
Oh, it's hard to
Wilson
get that
becomes Sam Wilson becomes
heroes.
becomes Captain America. That is literally the
Bro,
only
why does
thing.
every Marvel movie look like Shark Boy and Lava Girl now?
Sam Wilson
Yeah,
is,
they don't look great. Cinematography is an issue for most of them.
I'm not even talking, like, cinematography is one thing. Why the fuck do the costumes look like Spy Kids?
Oh yeah, the visuals
3?
and stuff.
Why do they look like the Spy Kids 3 costumes, bro, when they were in the video?
You know
God,
why?
what-
Yeah,
you know
but-
why, Isaac? Because they're gonna bounce them back to level 1.
One. Oh man. But yeah, the whole universe thing in general, I'm getting kind of tired of. But to be fair to some of the others, like, I guess to give an example, Sonic is getting a movie universe because we already know that we're getting a Knuckles TV show and a third movie. But I give that one a bit more leeway because, you know, there's not 8 fucking Sonic movies coming out every year, so it's a lot
Can
more
you
digestible.
Bro, can you imagine that? Jim Carrey would be rich. Like, yes, 8 Sonic movies. No, but I was trying to. I wanted to say a joke, and then I actually wanted to make my comment about Eternals, and then finish my take on Spider-Man. But
No, yeah, go
we
ahead.
kind of we went on a tangent. But my joke was like, Eric is when we're talking about MCU, Eric will literally be like, Moon Knight, I like him. Eternals, well, if you guys like Marvel, I guess.
That's true.
Well, I
love Eric. Like, Eric's takes are very selective. Just be like,
Yeah,
you like this shit?
You know,
I'm not saying that. All right.
No,
but, like,
no.
it's
I'm
not
exaggerating
problematic
it.
though. Like, at
I don't
least
mean to make you sound like our friend Henry.
But at least
You like
he's
Yuri 50.
at least he's not problematic about it. So that's the thing about Eric. Like I respect his
Only
opinion.
Henry
Which is,
problematic.
no, which is
Damn.
why every time I watch like if we ever watch something, I always gonna be like, I'm not gonna go first. Eric, what did you think?
What's your
That's the
take?
point
So
where-
I know what to not say.
Yeah, that's what it feels like sometimes.
I didn't say
Lawrence
that.
does do that. Well, no, I know. I'm kidding, but like, because Lawrence does that. He goes to me right away. And one, I just got out of the movie, bro. You gotta let me like formulate my thoughts.
What do you think? So I know what to tweet.
Yeah, and
What do you
two, are you asking so that you can change your opinion?
No!
Or what?
What the heck? Oh man.
Yeah, bro. I
Bro,
hate
you know what,
Eternals.
Eric, I agree with you.
The only shit I liked about Eternals was the post credit cutscene. Because
Oh
that
yeah, that was
Blade.
good. That was decent.
That was the only shit I cared about. We didn't even see Blade in the movie. We
Oh, I
just
thought
heard
you
his
meant the
voice,
other
Mahershala
post-credit
Ali.
scene.
I just heard the
Are you
voice
sure
of
about
Mahershala Ali, and I'm like, oh, this shit's gonna be good. And that was it.
I thought
But,
you were
going
actually
back-
talking about the other post-credit scene, which was also, I think, was kind of interesting.
Right, there was two. I actually
Yeah, there were
forgot
two.
the other
Harry
post credits.
Styles.
Oh, I forgot about
Oh
that one.
yeah, the brother
Yeah.
of Thanos.
That actually caught me so off guard. I'm not. I'm. And the
I didn't
thing
know what.
is,
To
we
be
were
honest,
2
'cause
hours
I don't
away
know
from
the-
getting spoiled because the night that we saw it, they posted it on the official Marvel Instagram.
Yeah, they did. Marvel, they
that-
actually did that, and I can't believe that shit.
Yeah, that Harry Styles was in the movie, and I was like, "Wow, we just got out of the movie. We were about
not-
to be
did that-
really spoiled."
Yeah.
That was the
That
next
shit-
day. I remember you guys mentioned that in the chat. That was the next day after I saw the movie. I'm like, what the fuck? So Marvel is spoiling their own movies now?
Yeah, I
Dude,
guess.
that shit is like the fucking when Sony posted about Michael Keaton showing up in Morbius, and they did like a whole Q&A, and before the movie even came out worldwide, they only did it for like because the movie came out like for the premiere, but like everybody else hasn't seen the movie yet.
Yeah. Michael
God.
Keaton is in this movie
Bruh.
as bullshit.
Well, as you could see, Spider-Man No Way Home clearly established that you can place two characters in two different universes. So Doctor Strange's spell managed to send Michael Keaton's character into the Morbius universe, even though that's not how the spell originally worked and we're changing shit up.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god!
I was just gonna say,
Spider-Man. No Way Home.
yeah, you should probably get that because you said you wanted to finish it.
Take on Spider-Man No Way Home. The rumors and everything that's going on are gonna be bought like crazy, and this changes up the whole cinematic universe. And more about what I care about is changes up the future of Spider-Man in the cinema. And I'm with Eric, and I guess I for one will say like I'm with Eric as well because and Lawrence and Ray. I guess because you guys said you cared more about. I think one of you said, or a few of you said like you're more into Spider-Man than MCU. But I like the MCU too. I was a Spider-Man fan before the MCU, so I'm biased like that because there was no MCU when I was growing up with Spider-Man. But I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to see where they take Spider-Man, and I'm also interested to see where the MCU goes too because we're talking only I guess a week after Multiverse of Madness. No, Multiverse of Madness just dropped last weekend, so. There's already a lot coming out from that. A lot of not just like post movie discussions, but also like different criticisms about how the movie was and where the MCU is going to go from here. So now is a really interesting time. Everyone's got a different take, and we don't know where things are going to go. But when it comes to Spider-Man No Way Home, things I liked about it mainly, they nailed the characters down. They didn't make it feel like it was too packed. They told a really great story. Visually, like a really, really awesome and good looking movie. And I think they told a coming of age Spider-Man story. We finally got to see Tom Holland Spider-Man become. I feel like this is him becoming Spider-Man because for the past two movies we didn't really see that. He was basically playing. Like a Richie Rich with Iron Man and all of the shit that he gave him. So it's cool to see him finally grow up and get responsibility. things that I feel like I don't really have too many criticisms of things I thought they could do better. Other than like, I hope that they do Venom or they do whatever universe. I don't know what's going. I think my only criticism is that I don't know what's happening now with Sony and the universe, Morbius, and whatever's going on with that. But I hope they figure that out.
Morbid.
I like to Morbid, Morbid too. I hope Sony figures it out, and I hope Marvel also figures it out about what they want to do with Spider-Man and whether or not it's going to be two separate universes. Because we almost lost Spider-Man in the MCU just a few years, like a year or two before No Way Home came out.
We almost never got this movie. It's thanks to
we almost never got this movie.
Yeah.
Like we almost never got a Spider-Man 3, not even this movie. So to have this movie is really awesome, and I feel like it's just sometimes, even though movies come out and people, directors, movie producers, studios, they get it wrong, and you have to, hold them accountable for that. Sometimes just when a good movie comes out, you just got to enjoy it because you never know, when we're going to get something like that again, and just appreciate it being there. Because, this is the first completed Spider-Man trilogy ever. Because the last two times it didn't work out. So for it to finally work out is a really great feeling for, someone as myself, speaking as a Spider-Man fan, and I know everybody else who grew up watching the movies, even if they're not a big fan. It's really awesome to see a completed Spider-Man trilogy. We got an Iron Man complete trilogy before we got Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's been around.
Spider-Man 3 was a thing though in 2007.
True, yeah, you're right. I guess it was. Then I'm talking about after the last
complete Spider-Man story.
A complete
exactly. Yeah, because Spider-Man 4 was supposed to be a thing. The tweet proves it.
Yeah.
The tweet proves it, yeah. So this is our first complete story in a trilogy, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad that we have it, and I hope that Sony and Marvel figures it out. But I also hope that they just do the fans right. And it's a great time to be a Spider-Man fan with the games, the movies, and all the media coming out. So, I hope that they just do it right, and I can't wait to see where it goes next.
Yeah.
Let's go!
I will say, with the Eternals Harry Styles thing, I felt weird because so many people were reacting like, what? And I didn't recognize him, so I was just like, who that? Like, I literally didn't know it was Harry Styles.
Me too. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know. At first, I forgot it was Harry Styles. I'm like, who's that again? I know he's somebody I've seen before, but who is that? Like a celebrity. But then when they said, when the little gnome, Pip, was like, please welcome, brother of Thanos, Star Fox. I thought he literally was going to be like...
Star Fox!
He's like, Landmaster or something. Star Fox with Smash Bros.
I was actually really surprised when I saw... The only reason I reacted, I was just like, I don't really care about the brother of Thanos thing. I saw Harry Styles and I'm like, huh? But that was probably the only thing that I liked about that movie. Is like... I questioned why where were these guys when Thanos decided to ruin half the war, the universe, and then where were
they said it in the movie too. They were just like, we couldn't interfere.
In the trailer,
and then after that,
they couldn't interfere, and yet they interfered.
Yeah, right.
Their own duty. So it's like, all right, sure,
yeah,
whatever.
That was one thing that I was like, I was curious. The other thing was. That I really liked was the Harry Styles thing and then the Blade thing at the end. Other than that, that movie is doo-doo, trash, basura, disgusting, Kondura.
Oh my god.
Jeez, it's not that.
I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
Some honorable mentions of that movie was the Bollywood scenes. I thought it was pretty funny.
It's one of those movies.
The Eternal that became a Bollywood actor.
Kunal Nayyar, sorry, not
that guy
Kunal.
just sort of exited the movie, though.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
he made the perfect call.
He didn't even show up at the end.
He is Kunal Nanjiani, right?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Kumail. He's great. Like he's actually great. I think he again. One of the better parts of the movie
is... saw that final act and he's like, nah, fam.
I'm out.
One of the better parts of the movie are some of the actors. Like, honestly, I really enjoyed a lot of them. And so, like, that was, again, like, something that I enjoyed. But other than that, the movie was just, like, it was not good.
Like, fell asleep.
I felt like for a bit there, you were, like, iron fisting Eternals. We're like, man, Eternals was really good. Eternals was basura, man.
Wait, did he really say it was good though at one point? Because I don't remember.
I did say it was decent. It was okay back then, but
this is why I feel bad for my old asshole-ish self, because I feel like it's influenced him in a bad way.
Oh my god. No, so what I do nowadays is when I watch a movie, I take about 3 weeks to a month to form a real opinion. So like essentially my reaction
that's fair.
my reaction at first is like, damn, that was
that
was good. And then like a month later I'm like, it wasn't actually that good. Like like I want to know if it makes an impact on me. Like I'm telling you right now, like No Way Home made that impact. Multiverse of Madness will probably make that impact. Like
it also came out at a weird time because Eternals came out like 2 years after Endgame, 3 years after Endgame. So it's like, what was the point of watching it if you knew what was going to happen?
It was 2 years.
Nothing happens in Eternals that mattered. Oh, okay, it's my fault. 2 years. I was thinking Infinity War, but
that's fair.
Yeah, you basically don't need to watch Eternals.
I think it was supposed to come like almost right after Endgame,
but the
COVID
coronavirus happened.
Yeah,
but the part that I don't like is that this movie, after I watched it coming out, I realized like, damn it, like looking at Eternals, like just the poster art with all the celebrities gets you kind of hyped because you're like, this looks interesting. This many characters, this is like the most characters in any Marvel movie by far, more than the Avengers. So I'm like, what is going on here, right? Then I watched it and it came out, and I'm like, all right, I'm iffy about it. And then I realized, like, why did I watch this movie? Because I wanted to know something. Like, they sold it as Marvel said, like, you have to watch this to understand what happens later on, or like to understand the MCU as a whole. Bro, I watched that movie. I didn't understand shit.
Yeah, I remember. I went to use
Kevin
the bathroom.
Fujiwater was like, "You have to watch this movie."
I went to watch. Like, I went to the bathroom as soon as the movie was starting, but all I remember is that I missed the fucking Star Wars
oh yeah, that was really weird.
Book like at the beginning of the movie, and I was just like, all right, well, I mean, I don't really need to know, I guess, what happened. But actually, fun fact, that shit's really important to the entire movie. So if you miss that, like if you miss that, you don't really know what's happening. So eventually later on, I asked Eric and Ray, I'm like, yo, what did I miss? Because apparently I missed a lot. But
Morbius showed up and
he said it's Morbin time and
the Morbturnals.
Morbius 2, Morbius Returns. Yeah. I will say, as much as I am not, as much as I'm not a fan of Eternals, and I would not categorize it as a good movie.
And that's not.
I will say, I don't really blame like the director, or the actors, because I've heard the director's actually done some good stuff. I can't remember their name off the top of my head. But like I've heard, like they've made some good shit in the past, and there are some good actors in there, like Kumail. I don't want to mispronounce his second name so badly. I know I will, but there's some good people on there. But it's it's like I said earlier, a lot of the MCU can very much feel manufactured as fuck. I would not be surprised if that director, that from what I've heard, has made good stuff in the past, was forced to make it as just homogenized as possible.
Oh, Michelle Yeoh, that's her name.
No, Chloe Zhao.
Chloe Zhao. Oh,
yeah, fault. She did.
Michelle Yeoh's an actor.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh's in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right.
Chloe Zhao did Nomadland. If you guys have seen,
I think that's the one that people say is like really good. Apparently,
yeah, that one. And she did Songs My Brother Taught Me and The Writer.
Yeah, like she's apparently made some very good movies in the past. So like I don't doubt her skill at all. I honestly think it's just, Disney Marvel being like they want to make it as homogenized as possible. We know that they've meddled in the past. Edgar Wright was supposed to do Ant-Man, but he left because they kept trying to fuck with his vision. So it would not surprise me if maybe she did want to do some cool shit with this, but Disney's like, no, make it like all the rest.
It's kind of like what happened with Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi came out and said, we're going to make this a full-on horror movie. And then Feige was like, horror elements. That was just that, I think that kind of just shows the whole like Marvel can really kind of come in and fuck up. I really hope that the whole horror thing actually works out, but
It's I will say I wish there should be more horror superhero movies. 'Cause that's something
Yeah.
we really see. Like New Mutants tried it, and that's one of the reasons I was like the one person that wanted to give it a chance. Because I was legitimately like, oh, a superhero movie that's also a horror movie. That's interesting. That's not something we see. That's different. I wanted to give that movie a chance, but it's not good. It's really not. It's really not. I watched it like last year, and it is rough.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about like the only thing that I am like somewhat interested in is New Mutants because I'm so interested in the horror stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm personally not interested in it, but I will go watch it with you.
I mean, it didn't come out in theaters, so you didn't. But
yeah, same thing.
But yeah, hopefully, Multiverse is good with the horror stuff. It is Sam Raimi, after all, the guy who made Evil Dead and Drag Me to Hell and a bunch of all that cool stuff. So
Yeah. Okay.
First, you Kevin
All right.
Fiji water.
All right, everyone. I think
So
we've
how long was that one?
3 hours and 20 minutes.
we gotta stop. We gotta stop.
Do you guys want to talk? No, I'm kidding.
No,
All
wrap
right.
up the podcast.
We'll leave Sonic 2 for next time.
Yeah, Sonic 2 next time. Anyways, guys.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
In fact, Isaac, have you seen it?
Sonic 2? I still have to see it.
Okay.
And
I'll probably see it this
now
weekend.
on to my second point. No, okay. Everyone, thanks so
Wrap
much
up the
for
podcast.
thanks so much for
Sonic.
watching. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, we love to do all this stuff for you. But anyways, make sure you keep up with us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Keep up with the links.
All that stuff, all that jazz. Anyways, guys, my name's Lorenzo. I'm the Blue Squid here on the Inkling Brothers podcast.
My name is Ray, also known as Meatloaf Man. I'm the Purple Squid here on the Inkling Brothers podcast.
My name is Isaac. I'm the Red Squid on the Inkling Brothers podcast.
Oh my god.
And I'm Eric.
He's Star Fox from the Eternal.
No, I'm not.
From Star
Anyways,
Fox
guys,
Adventures.
thanks for
And
watching.
Isaac sounded really high
I
definition.
know.
there for a second.
Anyways,
Isaac
guys,
was doing some ASMR.
ASMR, right? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys in about 2 weeks. See you guys then.
Peace out.
Bye.
I'm like Mobile.